All right, chat. Welcome in. Welcome in. The rare Rem and Sam Wednesday, Rem and Sam Pod Wednesday live stream. Hey, yo, chat. It is what it is. For those, of course, that joined us for our normal Tuesday night edition of the Rem and Sam Pod live stream, we, of course, thank you guys for jumping on with us. But we did have some technical difficulties while we were trying to make it happen. So we decided, maybe hop on, take two, see what happens, give it a go again. And we do have, I should say, we were doing like a NFL quarter mark check-in, trying to go through some player rankings. And we do actually need to revisit the player rankings. Hey, yo, chat, we haven't even played games. We already got them wrong, 12 hours ago, whatever. I guess we can't do math. I don't think we were on 12 hours ago. But, regardless, I think there is we do have to go back and look at them for a specific reason. We'll mention that in a little bit here. But we should be thankful as well, too, that of all the times we have to try to fire up for, I guess, a Wednesday afternoon live stream that just so happens the baseball playoffs are starting up. Hey, yo, I think they, started up a couple days ago. I guess, this game that's on right now is technically in game 2 as well. But I guess you can play multiple games back-to-back days. So the playoffs, I guess, could have started yesterday. And this could be game 2. But are Padres fans going to be mad if we say our Padres? Hey, yo, check, because make no mistake, you can check the tapes. We've never talked about the Padres the entire regular season because, again, the only reason that we would just claim this as a team is because, we're pro Tatis. Hey, yo, shout out. But again, it's not like we followed him 1 second. So we literally nothing. They do have Machado on the team, I did see. So that is a name I know. I couldn't tell you the other teams. Did Machado maybe play for the Dodgers at one point? He's I guess a star guy. So I guess I know that he's good. But I don't really know anything about him other than that. So, again, shout out to the actual Padres fans out there. We're not trying to be disrespectful to the people that have actually had the painful memories with the organization. Hey, yo, I guess, if we don't know necessarily 5 seed down 1-0 and a best of 3 is, I guess not necessarily peak of fandom, but still up 3-0. I guess they are gonna potentially extend the, I guess. Hey, yo, we don't want to jump on and just jinx it. Padres fans, like, he came in and claimed our team and then jinxed it in the last inning. Historic job by the Cubs getting some runs here because they did switch out pitchers as well too. Oh, Chet, speaking of, okay, the outfielder gets it. Is that Tatis? Is that our guy Tatis? We just called him the outfielder. Hey, yo, we just said he's our favorite player. So the Padres, end of the 8th, is that the end of the game? Wait a second, what about the 9th inning, chat? The Cubs don't have the 9th inning to try to score? Am I confused? They did say as well too, bring him in for the last couple outs. So they're like, oh yeah, obviously he's referring to the inning, but still, and 1 inning closer to keeping the series alive is something to celebrate as well too. But they were saying that the pitcher that they just had in had like an incredible couple of inning stretch there and just ripping off strikeouts. So again, I don't know. It feels like, is it the up 20? They probably should win. But you never know. So we're keeping an eye, chat. We've got, I guess, probably not the last baseball game of the day. I guess it's the same schedule as yesterday. So shout out. We got Yankees versus Boston versus New York in the 5 o'clock slot. And then the 8 o'clock slot, we've got the Dodgers versus the Reds, which maybe, I guess we'll have pitching. We don't know necessarily like pitching, who's what are the rotations and stuff like that. So I don't know if what the difference would be between their pitching in game 1 versus game 2. Is it so off that the Reds would win a game? Hey, yo, it did seem like that, again, it was a little bit of a discrepancy in the last one. And Ohtani's star power as well. I mean, just right away, home run, crazy stuff, chat. Hey, yo. But there is something that we do have to look over here real quick. I did see, after we logged off the other night, that Pitchfork did drop they dropped a list. Hey, yo, chat. Bing is crazy. Here we go. 100 best rap albums of all time. Oh, this is on Yahoo. No, we want the actual Pitchfork version. Pitchfork on MSN? Best 200 albums of the last 25 years. Okay, I guess if we just go to pitchfork.com, we'll find it. Hey, yo, chat. We should just know not to trust Bing. It is what it is. Shout out. We're calling him out, chat. Rem and Sam Pod versus Bing. Hey, yo. we think that Bing needs to step up their game. Change my mind. Hey, so here we go. Best rap albums of all time according to readers. Oh, this is a readers poll. So, the headline that I did see was, oh, wait a second, listing guides. Oh, there's 2 of them. We got a top 100 and a best of all time according to the readers. Hey, yo, chat, a gold mine. This is a gold mine. This is great. Okay, I guess, do we go the reader version first? That one might be more accurate. You never know. But, I mean, they're going to get some of the names right. It's just, obviously, the order is just subjective, I guess, to whatever. So, do we just, initially, you get Playboi Carti on here, chat, as the representative for, I guess, the modern times? Hey, yo, I mean, Kendrick as well, too. I mean, shout out, hey, yo, shout out Doom, of course. Obviously, all the legends. Oh, Future, chat, just hiding in here. Hey, yo, is there anybody else that we're not getting that should we know who this is in the background? I guess I'm not familiar if this is a specific reference. Oh, this is Thug, chat. Hey, yo, is this Thug? Let me double check. Hey, yo, this shows us that maybe we don't know his album covers as well as we thought. Let me double check the, is it the Barter that is the, oh, Jeffrey is the crazy album cover. It's gotta be Jeffrey, right? Okay, hey, yo, so we've got Thug, Future, Playboi Carti, and Kendrick as the representative for modern times, Tupac, Lauryn Hill, and then, hey, yo, chat, we got what, Wu-Tang on the who's on the right, chat? Hey, yo, I guess we start naming names. This is gonna be problematic, but shout out, obviously, Rem learns legends on the pod. It is what it is. I mean, this is obviously good. The Playboi Carti one is it actually the best? Is it the best drawing? Hey, yo, the Kendrick one is pretty. I mean, obviously they all look pretty good, but shout out. Hey, yo, it is what it is. So, I guess they're picking a side. Kendrick, Drake, no Drake in the mix. No Travis as well. No, I mean, no Jay, no Big. I guess all that we could. How many people did they leave off? But is it listed 1 to 100 or 100 to 1? I don't even know, chat. We'll take a look here. Even later, long-form rap conventions became codified. Oh, chat, codified. This list could be crazy. They're using, fancy words. Paul A. Thompson. Oh, chat, we haven't seen the Paul Thomas Anderson movie yet. I don't. Is this guy kind of ripping off the stage name? I don't know. But people are calling this the one battle after another. They're calling this the best PTA movie of all time of his movies yet. Ah, chat. Hey, yo, hot start. Doggy Style's at 100. There's 99 albums better than Doggy Style. Hey, yo, and Snoop's best is there gonna be other Snoop's albums above this? I mean, I can be honest here, chat. Are we the experts on Snoop's entire catalog? Is there a sleeper in the mix that maybe I'm not thinking of? This project from '01 is, there is what is the one with the Neptune, the Neptune song on it that I'm thinking of? Obviously, shout out the Neptunes for being back. Paid the Cost to Be the Boss, chat. Hey, yo, that is early 2000s, right? Or is that late 90s? Oh, 2. Okay, so is Paid the Cost to Be the Boss better than Doggy Style, or is this Snoop's best album? And I guess Snoop's contributions to other albums as well, too, you would assume. I mean, we would assume those albums are going to be recognized, but hey, yo, chat. This is not the readers list as well. Maybe, the readers, young people like myself, and maybe we would have, you'd look at us and be like, oh, you kids putting Doggy Style at 100, chat is crazy. But again, you were saying, you're talking about the album. Shout out Snoop. I think, I guess our generation, the old heads maybe would be the ones to be like, they could maybe see us potentially, again, not ranking it as high. I'm not saying we would. I'm saying we probably would end up ranking it higher, maybe just because of its legendary status. But apparently the old heads are out on Doggy Style. Hey, yo, Chad. Hey, hey, yo. The album, the whatever, but, hey, yo. Paul Thomas Anderson? There was some, I was also seeing that Leo. They were saying that this is maybe Leo's best performance as well, too. So, just for it to be even brought up is crazy. It shows you how good it must be. I guess we can't wait for it to hit streaming, chat. Hey, yo. You know, we've got one movie left this year that we're going to go see it, that we got budgeted for the theater trips. Shout out Predator Badlands. We're going to go see, I guess, you know, shout out the Predator franchise. We'll be in the theaters opening night, but I have to double check the list as well, because I got to, you know, I guess, Honesty Corner continues. We were going to go see the Jordan Peele executive produced movie, Marlon Wayne's vehicle. Him. But the reviews, the Rotten Tomato scores, they scared us off, and they probably shouldn't. We know that you just have to watch a movie and enjoy it for yourself, but it did scare us off in terms of the theater-going element for it. The Rotten Tomato scores, they need to change. They need to change the pause. It's not called the Splat. I guess it's called Rotten or whatever. I don't know, but it's not called. I guess Rotten is crazy as well too, because it's just, again, it's all subjective, but there needs to be a Tubi Classic ranking for it, where I guess we've said straight to Tubi before, so just a straight Tubi. Like, is him gonna be a straight to? I guess not straight to Tubi, but in terms of streaming, does it need to be put on Tubi instead of one of the prestige services? You know, and maybe that, I've never thought about that as well too. But if you see and you do get like Goodfellas and stuff on Tubi. I think Goodfellas is on Tubi right now. I think I watched it recently, but you do get some of these high-level movies on these streaming services, and you know, when you put maybe the B plus, the B tier, the C tier movies next to them, maybe it's a little bit, you know, maybe you're not gravitating to it as much because you're like, oh, wait a second, my choices are, you know, Goodfellas, Casino, Silence of the Lambs. Like, I guess we could pull up what's the HBO, you know, Hall of Fame for their movies. But you get Tubi on there, and you're like, okay, wait a second, my options are The Running Man, Body Double, and you know, whatever, Life with Eddie Murphy. It's like, okay, you know, the options are, you know, on a little bit more of a level playing field for maybe a movie like him, where maybe you're like, okay, you know, I'll fire this one up, and then maybe you're a little more fond of it. So I guess, you know, our next move, if Jordan Peele's in the chat right now, IT check, is Jordan Peele in the chat? If you're in the chat, Mr. Peele. Mr. Peele, Mr. Jordan, I don't know, but if you're in the chat, that's our marketing advice. Is don't drop this on HBO or whatever major service you want. You know, don't drop this movie on Netflix. Drop it on Tubi is obviously the right thing to do, or Pluto or something like that. But hey, chat, Doggy Style at 100 is a tough start for Snoop. Donald Morrison, was he championing this album, getting it to 100, or is he, you know, a reason that it's at 100? I don't know. What's at 99? Doo-Wop Kane, Underdog, 2018. Hey, chat. Maybe we're not as caught up as we thought. His 2018 album, Underdog, was released when he was 16. Whoa, displays best of this method, which, hey, chat, Rem can't read. Okay, wait a second. Displays, I guess we can't even believe that. I guess shout out. I mean, I guess there's a dog on the cover. Hey, chat, I can't believe there's another cartoon dog over here that's better than, you know, the Doggy Style album cover's iconic. This is crazy. I mean, shout out Doo-Wop Kane. I'm sure this is an iconic project. Swag of innovators like Chief Keef and the late GNU. Hey, shout out. I don't know if that's how you say that, chat, but I think that's how we might end up going with it. It is what it is. 98, Foxy Brown, Broken Silence. Okay, I mean, that's just a brutal. I don't know how Doggy Style ends up at 100. Does it say? But it was Doggy Style where Dre perfected this cauldron of multi-layered synths, female background vocals, and deep blown out bass. Hey, chat, remember this? The only thing that was deep blown out bass. Pause. But you know, these all sound like reasons why it should be higher than 100. The Snoop's, the skits, it says they're all funny. That it solidified West Coast hip hop's mainstream dominance in the 1990s. Snoop became the slickest man at any party. I mean, just you know, it combines everything you want from it. It's the commercial album and the critical acclaim as well too. It was as commercially successful in its time as any, you know, equivalent sort of album. We don't necessarily, and I think it's a little bit difficult as well too, because adjust for inflation, you know, the consumption numbers were actually, again, larger back in the day than in some of that first week stuff than they are now. And we haven't figured out, I think, how to calculate perfectly in the same way, and maybe just the way stuff was getting inflated back then as well too at times was, you know, again, bots. I don't know if they were sending bots to the stores to buy vinyls and CDs and stuff, but maybe it seemed like it at times. But again, it was an album that actually everybody was listening to. It. I would like to see if we actually, I guess, point being, if we did some sort of adjusted for the time, whatever, what it would be like. Because I don't think it quite got the million first week, which is now, sort of that last. And I don't even know if we can, I guess, again, at a time it was where people were getting that number. But the idea of somebody getting that today is, of course, seems a little bit crazy, where, even 500K in 2025 would be, is the number one album just in general, all genres, even 500K. I'm sure, I think Sabrina, because I did see a post that had all the genres in like a top 15 or top 20 or something like that. But I think the top one, maybe not even 400K. I mean, I think Utopia was 400K plus, maybe close to 500K. But also, shows you the Travis Scott level as well, too. Is Utopia? How many albums is Travis Scott going to have over Snoop, chat? Hey, yo. Shout out to Snoop. It is what it is. We'll just open up a different tab and keep scrolling up to doggy style every time. Pause. But, shout out to Foxy Brown as well, too. Shout out. This is a sign, not only is this, shout out to Pitchfork. We're going to, definitely not perfect in the rankings. But, again, the legends are going to be listed, and it's like, oh, yeah, maybe we got to go fire up some of the Foxy Brown albums again, chat. Hey, yo, Keith LeBlanc, Major Malfunction, 1986. In 82, LeBlanc heard a performance from System's Oberheim DMX-assisted single, You Were In My System, and realized his days as a session drummer were numbered. Shaken, he bought a drum machine, and using a record he swiped from Sugar Hill's studio library, crafted No Sellout, a Malcolm X tribute that garnered the attention of UK engineer Adrian Sherwood. Okay, so shout out. Definitely an early pioneer. What does it say here? Major Malfunction, the album length culmination of their most electric work, was inspired by the Challenger shuttle disaster. Its future primitive sound feels of many genres and none, with echoing dub textures, innovative rhythmic templates, electrico funk workouts, and we're gonna pull a Kevin Garnett, chat. What is the word he says? I think he's trying to say equivalent, but I forget what he actually ends up saying for that word. We need to figure out what that word is and just drop it in every time we can't say a word. But critiques of Capital, it ironically titled "Technology Works Dub," feels relevant today as it did the day it was made. While others use drum machines to imitate drummers, LeBlanc used them to figure out what drums couldn't do. David Drake with the write-up. So shout out. Definitely a guy that gets lost in the 80s, chat. I guess not a name that we have heard before brought up as a pioneer of the game. If we have, we have the limitless pill subconscious activation has not happened yet. Lupe, shout out. Fahrenheit 115 Part 2, Revenge of the Nerds. Is it too complicated of an album title to be in the top 100? Probably not. But I don't know. Lupe, Revenge of the Nerds. Is Lupe gonna have a couple albums on here? He might, chat. He might. Sexy Red. Whoa! 95, chat. 2023. Sexy Red caught fire. It smolders through the unabashed horniness of I'm the hood chants of Ski Yee that run the entire block in the Mercurial Pound Town 2. Whoa! Hey, yo, which sounds like a platonic ideal of a 2-week tryst. Shout out Sexy Red, chat. I think the point has been made that Snoop's album's probably like a top. I'll be generous just because, it is, again, 100 albums. I'm sure that we're not even going to be able to fully, I guess, think of honorable mentions. I guess we could go to our own Spotify and be like, okay, I guess, what album hit? And then you start getting, like, multiple artists. Is every Kendrick album going to be on here? Shout out, there's, again, maybe Keith LeBlanc. Is every Kendrick album better than Revenge of the Nerds? Shout out Lupe Fiasco. Maybe go back to Keith LeBlanc. Look at Lupe Fiasco and drop a diss track on the Reverend Sam pod. But, again, you do maybe get into a little bit of artist selection in that type of way. But it is going to, you start saying, just casually throwing out top 20. Again, there are a handful of albums that we probably know are going to be in the mix. But I think Doggy Style is one of them. And, again, just for the, there's literally not a box it doesn't check where, like we're saying, in the day, commercially successful, critically acclaimed. I don't think 93 would have been right before the Grammys had a, like, I think got the rap categories and stuff. Here, should we double check? Hey, yo, it is what it is. I guess, you know, we didn't mean this to be a history of this album, but it is maybe, you know, would probably have gotten the nomination if it had been around, if that category had been around back in the day. 800,000 in the first week as well. And I don't know if like the second week numbers were on here, but I think that's an iconic thing with the album as well. It's again, just, you know, more importantly, the staying power that it had again in the moment. Yeah, it doesn't have awards here. Let's see. Best rap album. What year would the Grammy have first given it out? Because, you know, Will Smith is like the first rapper to win a Grammy, and I think that was in the 80s, like 89 maybe, but having a category. So yeah, 96 was the first time they gave out the best rap album. So you have Tupac, of course, Me Against the World, released at that time. I guess, you know, losing out to Naughty by Nature, Old Dirty Bastard, ODB, shout out, Skee-Lo, Bone Thugs and Harmony. But yeah, you know, it wouldn't have, I guess maybe album of the year. I don't think it would have been, you know, maybe, I don't know if they would have quite have considered it properly for that. And we'd have to go back and look, I guess, at all the albums that were released in 93. Maybe there was more other ones better than that. But it had, again, all the in the moment stuff, and the hits as well too still live on today. You can, I mean, you know, I one of the fun parts of, and I feel like, you know, obviously we're about as obsessed with the Pop Out concert as anybody that, you know, I feel like goes back and rewatches it. But one of the fun parts of, I legitimately enjoy rewatching the intermissions, and Gin and Juice playing in the intermissions is, or anyway, you know, I'm gonna doubt myself on which song is playing. I guess, chat, time to fire it up. I guess it's been a couple months, so it might be time. Do we just fire it up right now? We might. I guess we have the game sound on, so I don't know. Well, do we just mute the game and throw on the Pop Out? We might have to, chat. It is what it is. Tyler, though, getting Bastard on at 94 in 2009. I mean, is this, I don't know what kind of point you're trying to make here by putting on this album. I think we could definitely recognize the career of Tyler Creator with a couple of albums. I mean, maybe just all of the last, you know, 4, 5 albums that he's made. I forget it, you know, how many great ones at this point. But in this album is, you know, the quality of this album, I think, is a little, you know, again, it starts getting compared against Tyler's discography, where it is still a really fun album. I don't know, again, is Tyler gonna be a legend if this is the best album that he ever drops? But I don't know if this has to be a top 100 album of all time. I feel like you could still maybe mention the beginning of his career in a write-up at some point. There's no getting past the vulgarity, but that's the point. Tyler was as much a hurt teenager when he made Violent and Deranged album to match and mask the pain he felt. It's also pure fiction. There is no world in which this California high schooler made good on the vile acts he described. So what's left are a collage of decaying synthesizer beats and tongue-twisting, often revealing lyrics that owe a great deal to MF Doom, and you couldn't look beyond the snuff and gore. And then you weren't supposed to be there when Tyler and his Odd Future comrades on their careering car into the mainstream. Hey, oh, chat, we butchered that. Bastard is a technicolor pump rap meant to anger, excite, and flummox. Bastard is a technicolor pop rap meant to anger, excite, and flummox. Okay, shout out Manchester Travis. But Gangstar, Moment of Truth. Okay, now we're maybe getting into territory where I guess, I don't know if this is still, again, we got 80 albums to go before we're really going to start competing with Snoop. But I feel like the legendary status, I guess, staying power. Hey, yo, shout out Keith LeBlanc. He's been staying around since 1986. But, you know, Gangstar, definitely legendary as well, too. Shout out Waka Flocka Flame, Flockavelli. How many Avellis are going to be on this list? You know, shout out a common album name. I mean, I feel like you got to bring it if you're titling that as, you know, if you're using that in your title as your album. And, you know, often a lot of guys do as well too. Pause. And, you know, the early Waka Flocka years were pretty crazy. The key was dialing into the raucous crunk of the 2000s, distilling the hooks you'd hear from Crime Mob or Lil Jon and the East Side Boys into constant hypnotic reveries. When asked why people love this music in 2010, he put it bluntly, they know it's real. and you can feel it in the album's most memorable line. Even when my little brother died, I said, "Oh, this is cool." But also every bow and every brick squad. Rem Butcher's reading, chat. It is what it is. Oh, chat, another sleeper. Cannibal Ox, the Cold Vein. Oh, wait a second. The game just ended. Okay, so we might have to go throw on the pop out like we were talking about here. Actually, I got, again, honesty corner, chat. I kind of want to keep throwing. I kind of want to watch the baseball playoffs. I don't know how much I'm going to be locked in, but I kind of like the idea of having it on in the background right now. I don't know if it's us getting into baseball again. Shout out to the pod. It's like, okay, the Padres, the team that we thought we might like, is now actually, Tatis is, I guess, playing, and they're in the playoffs. So maybe things are trending in the right way. I guess we don't know if this is maybe a roster a little more immediately built, and if next year, is it a trend forward team? Is it a trend backward team? Like, what are we looking at in that way? But again, we got Yankees Red Sox, pretty legendary matchup. I feel like we can't go wrong watching that. And then Ohtani later. I mean, Ohtani delivers, chat. Ohtani, that's just the sign of a star, where you throw it on and immediately you see the impact, and it's like, whoa, I kind of have to watch this again. I might need to actually sit down and see a full Ohtani game. And he's of course getting that generational label. But shout out to Cannibal Ox, the cold vein debuts, imagines all the rain in Blade Runner as snow and ice. Ooh, chat. And does that give it a little Game of Thrones vibe there? The album's wintry electric sound, full of guitar squalls and synth blares that splash through a chasm of negative space, offer the immersive LP's typical bustling style. I was gonna say LP is Cannibal Ox, but no. Just stylistically, some similar stuff there. So that is about as good of a pitch for an album as you can get. Imagines all the rain in Blade Runner as snow and ice. Shout out. What was LeBlanc? Does LeBlanc have a well-crafted pitch? Or Flockavelli? The same way, I guess, we're not necessarily, the album's not necessarily on the same tier as these albums in terms of, times to listen. But Boosie? Hey, yo, chat. 06 Boosie. Top 90. We once knew Boosie as the Tupac of the South. And like Pac, he was... Is that true? I mean, again, we weren't necessarily fully locked in 06 like we should have been, but I don't know. Tupac of Anywhere is crazy. Actually, speaking of Marlon Wayans, we did just see a clip of Marlon Wayans. It was a bunch of clips reacting to the Will Smith slap, so this was, of course, old reactions, but... chat, pause. A clip that we just saw on our feed, and one of the reactions was Marlon Wayans, and he was saying that the spirit of Tupac embodied Will Smith when he went up there and slapped him, and started crip walking, all different stuff. But I guess so. I don't know, this, like, the spirit of Tupac, which is kind of also the spirit of Boosie, I guess, inhabited Will Smith. I don't know if that's what he meant to say. Or I don't know if that's what the Pitchfork guys meant to say. Maybe I don't know if that's they didn't mean for us to connect the dots. Was that actually what it was? The spirit of Boosie or the spirit of Pac? I guess let us know. But is Boosie the Pac of the South? Bold claims here by Eric Wells. So shout out to the the legend, of course, Lil B, Six Kiss, 2009. 80s baby from Berkeley, California, hip hop, icon. What is this word, chat? Ayo, icolonist, bass theologian, Ivy League lecturer. Whoa, Lil B's Ivy League, chat. Hey yo, shout out. We got the Jacka, the Jack artist. Is this anime album cover? Maybe something similar here with the font on the title. I don't know if we're just paying love to some of the, I guess the sleeper classics from the early 2000s at this part of the list, but that's definitely where it seems to be trending. Beat Me Up Scotty, 2009, Nicki Minaj. Hey, yo, do we have to go back and see what number is this? Is this the first one? Hey, yo, chat. How does, oh, here we go. Nicki Minaj. Shout out. Maybe we should have just gone with Minaj first. I don't know. But can we get a discography here? Is this a mixtape? Is this technically a mixtape? I guess we probably are going to get those in the mix as well, too. You imagine maybe a Wayne mixtape or two. So let's see here. The Nicki Minaj mixtape discography. Do we need to go revisit that? Playtime is Over, 2007. We've got Sucka Free, 2008, and Beam Me Up Scotty, 2009, which debuted at 2 on the Billboard chart. So, you know, already her first commercial success before she has that first album. I guess these are singles here, not albums. Albums up here. Shout out, you know, of course, the Pink Friday album, 2010. I debuted at number 1, 282. Week 1 is impressive stuff. But Beam Me Up Scotty gets the spot on the list. So is this her representation? Or do we get a couple other albums on there as well? Her third mixtape, it says right here. Hey, yo, shout out. Was premium stuff. People were either hooked or relapsed a decade later when she finally reissued it for streaming services. Beam Me Up Scotty infused rap with what had been sorely lacking at the time, theatrics. The LaGuardia graduate brought out alter egos. Nikki Lewinsky, witty polyglot wordplay, rhyming with Oscar. Shout out Rem Reed's bars and intimate interludes about striving for greatness in a genre that prized suave nonchalance. The mixtape was the prelude to an almost 2-decade reign so dominant that even Nikki is still competing with her old self. So gets the top 90 spot with Beam Me Up Scotty. So I guess we don't know. Is this is Flockavelli a mixtape, or is that a studio album? We would go back and double check that. But this is the first mixtape on the list. Matronics 85, the histories of hip hop and sampler technology. One can be measured by the increments of Public Enemy, the Neptune. Oh, I thought this was going to be some Public Enemy connection here. I think it's just the sort of lineage of it all. Matronic, once coaxed out of his beloved Roland TR 808 when the vocoder voice on the Needle to the Groove promises we got the beat that'll make you move. It sounded like the past discovering the future in real time. The 80s being well represented, chat. You love to see it. I mean, I'm assuming some of the other ones are going to be higher up on the list as well, too. Mac with Shell Shocked, 1989. Maybe one we need to add to the listen list for the first time. The rowdy New Orleans-based brainchild and empire of Master P almost sold 15 million CDs. A lot of oxygen was taken up by P's retirement album and Snoop's label debut, but it was Mac's rags to riches storytelling and steely introspection that would birth the greatest album of the year. Oh, chat, speaking of somebody taking out Snoop, Mac multiple times. I guess in 98 alone, but then is Mac Shell Shocked better all time by many spots than Doggy Style. So, do we have to reevaluate the all-time rapper rankings? Would Mac have been good in Training Day as well? I don't know. But Bones starring Mac, is that a to-be classic? I feel like maybe the Snoop popularity there does help out a little bit. Sugar Free Street Gospel, 1997. Shout out to Sugar Free, the most varied and virtuistic group of DJ Quick's beats ever assembled. Oh, so we got DJ Quick on production here. Okay, that's a good selling point for sure. And our guy Paul A. Thompson is back on the write-up. So shout out to the filmmaking legend himself, These, with the 2023 album. Hey, yo, another new addition. So we've got two 2023 albums so far, or two 2020 albums so far. I just the two with Sexy Red and V's. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. Oh, that Cold Vein was 2001. So shout out to V's. I don't know. We didn't get the first week numbers where we were seeing that in the mix. So we'll need to go back and revisit this one. Main Attract Ions. maybe. 808 and Grapes? 808 and Dark Grapes. 2. Ooh, a follow-up, a sequel, chat. You love a sequel. Cloud Rap. I guess 2011 would be the time. 808s 2? They can shorten this to 808s 2? I guess Kanye didn't drop a 808s and Heartbreaks. 808s Heartbreaks 2, but still you say 808s. And I mean, I feel like you know what album you're talking about. But 808s 2 is also a showcase of a local creative scene that was coming of age, and a dispatch from a city and a neighborhood in that city that was throes of rapid gentrification. The album captured all those realities, URL and IRL, and froze them in time. Hey, yo, chat, speaking of bars, I mean, can we get this right up in the top 100 rap verses of all time? Shout out. Realities of URL and IRL is crazy stuff. Too Short with Life is Too Short. His second major label release is emblematic of late 80s Oakland. Shout out, chat. Was Killmonger bumping Too Short when he was playing basketball? We don't know. But I think we have to go back and see what year that was. No, they were saying something about Hardaway. So the 90s, I don't know, was Too Short. But maybe we go back and look at Tim. When was Tim Hardaway on the Warriors? Because if I'm not mistaken, maybe it was a jersey. Did he have a Tim Hardaway jersey or something like that? For some reason, I feel like Limitless Pill, there was something with Tim Hardaway. I almost said Tim Hardy. Tom Hardy is a basketball player. I don't know if Tom Hardy could play Tim Hardaway in a movie. I think that probably wouldn't work out too good. But if he did, it would be named Tim Hardy. Shout out. So he was there 89 right afterwards. So I don't remember if does the Oakland scene in Black Panther, does it have a year? Maybe. Oh, I guess if it does, it'll be here in the plot. Spoiler: if anybody didn't watch the movie, if anybody was not in the $2 billion box office that it had, then I guess maybe you'll see a little bit of the plot for the first time. So it was thousands of years ago that the Wakanda was getting kicked off. It says here 1992. Okay, 1992. So what was the staying power of Too Short's Too Short album? It was late 80s Oakland, rap that they're talking about here. The same way, it's still dominant the same way for a kid like Killmonger growing up playing in a Tim Hardaway jersey. I don't know what they were listening to in the late 80s, but shout out Mac Dre and E40 songs were bonkers. The laid back flow in I Ain't Trippin' and Elsewhere makes Too Short come off like a cold-blooded and relentless, charismatic killer. No wonder Ronald Reagan thought he could fix the economy and cure cancer. Hey, yo, just dropping a link right there in case we want to go down that rabbit hole. I feel like maybe for another day. But Prince Paul, Prince of Thieves, 1999. Chad, is this the top 100 most obscure rap albums of all time? Oh, is this Prince Paul on the artwork, chat? Hey, yo, did we find him? Okay, maybe if it is Prince Paul, I'm not gonna feel as bad. Maybe I'm gonna feel more bad when it's not Prince Paul. But whoever's doing the graphic work is gonna make the group over here. Wait, what was this group called? Oh, shout out. I guess how far up can we scroll after visiting a couple more albums here? But Prince Paul. That's right. So I don't know if it was Prince Paul that was there or not. But of course, Prince Paul, the man responsible for crafting the madcap atmosphere of De La Soul's first 3 studio albums. Oh, chat, De La Soul, the kind of De La Soul Tribe Called Quest, like like a jazzy boom bap beat is, you start Nas, even, newer guys like Joey, 1999. Of course, that's an album that's very jazzy-ish with some of the sampling there. But the real, like, hardcore jazz rap, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, I think those are the first 2, of course, that go to mind. There was a group that somebody else at work recommended to us once called Jurassic 5. I forget, is that the group or the album? But Jurassic 5 was in the mix somewhere. And there were some good songs I ended up saving into the throwback playlist. But it was in that kind of, that chill kind of way they drop bars, and some of the production was in that same type of way as well too. And I feel like maybe he said that it was similar to that, so I don't know if it was in our subconscious as well too as we were listening to it. But it does tend to be, it is a little bit of a blind spot for us going back to some of those types of tracks consistently. And I guess MF Doom, I don't know if he's a little bit, more experimental. Well, not more experimental maybe than like Tribe, but I don't know if it's quite as jazzy as some of that early stuff. But of course he'll dabble into some of that. I mean, he's sampling all kinds of stuff as well. I assume we'll see some MF Doom a little bit later. But let's hear, its hapless protagonist, played by Bronx rapper Breeze Bruin, gets hemmed up while on the hunt for $1,000 that might land him a gig with Wu-Tang Clan's RZA. Spoiler: it doesn't end well. The non-linear zappiness of Pulp Fiction and the banal, am I saying this word right? Hey yo, black absurdism of Friday and jaded sense of humor that influenced everyone from Kendrick Lamar to the streets combine to offer one of the darkest and sharpest critiques of AAA hip-hop and all its rot. Hey, yo. There is, you can see, of course, as with a lot of great albums, a trend to the sort of very cinematic projects, and this sounds like definitely one of them as well, too. You see kind of a whole storyline in the mix. I guess it doesn't say official soundtrack. It's not like Sneaky a movie. Maybe we need to check Tubi. Prince Among Thieves, 1999. Diplomatic Immunity! Here we go, chat. Shout out Cameron. Shout out. I mean, I guess I don't. Following all the beefs is something I can't keep up sometimes. But I don't know if they've necessarily been on good terms with Jules lately with some of the stuff on the pod, and maybe even going back before that, obviously. But the album is classic, of course. The I'm Ready. Yeah, here we go. His shy assonance on I'm Ready. His devilish humor on I Really Mean It. Don't Deny It. It's the coolest any Harlem kid has ever sounded. Hey, yo, shout out. I mean, Cameron, in this moment, is the best rapper alive. Whoa, chat. Hey, yo, 2003. Is this a mindset or is this a statement from our guy Jason Buford? Do we need to go back and read the write-up and get this in context? The definitive post 9/11 hip hop text, in touch with immensity of the moment, but shot through the irreverence and rhetorical winks toward, quote, terrorists that channeled the ambivalence so many black New Yorkers felt toward the compulsory patriotism that followed the attacks. Hey, yo, chat, the writing is, when the words are like this, it's just the top level grammar, using all the words in the vocabulary. I guess maybe we should do like a practice run on the read through. But I think we got there. Irreverence and radical hey, yo, chat, we can't even get it a second time. But irreverence and rhetorical winks channeled the ambivalence, compulsory patriotism. There's a lot going on there, but shout out. More Than Music is the most defiant Jules Santana sounded in his entire career. Dipset's anthem. It epitomizes how special the group was. Their pockets were herky-jerky, but emerged greater than the beat, and what seems like simplistic references to movies or oral sex are strategic. It's muting the prestige and antidote for tricky wordplay that riffed off of Camacho's surnames and bullet wounds. Is that a nickname for Cameron that we don't, or is that another member? I guess we only really know Cameron and Jules. Hey, we got to go look up the rest of the guys on Wikipedia. Shout out. You just start listening to them on Spotify and you're like, well, okay, I know the songs. That's all I got. But and I guess, Camacho not doing the pod if we're not, giving him respect. But industry hierarchies and interborough squabbling aside, Cameron in this moment is the best rapper alive, with his Cobra patience, his shy assonance on I'm Ready, his devilish humor on I Really Mean It, Don't Deny It. Yeah, it's the coolest any Harlem person has ever sound. Shout out. So the writer is kind of saying that 03 Cameron, and we're not denying it. I just, again, I like to see him getting the credit, and you don't necessarily hear him get the credit as well too, of like, there was a moment where he was, and this happens in sports as well, where, and I'm just obviously saying this with the respect that the guy was able to achieve all the greatness that he was able to achieve, but the guys that do have a little bit of the shorter runs in terms of being at the top of the game, again, they just don't get brought up in the conversation the same type of way. Or the fact that, like, oh yeah, remember that moment, remember that time, remember. It's like guys that finished 5th on the MVP ballot. And sometimes you do, you get like an Isaiah Thomas season in Boston. It's like the uniqueness of that and how fun that was and him just balling out. And then there's, emotional stuff in the playoffs as well too that happens in bigger storylines. It becomes a historic thing that you remember. But sometimes, like how many times, I guess maybe it was just the one season that Devin Booker was in like the MVP voting, but it's like, oh yeah, wait, was there an argument at a point that Devin Booker was like the best guard in the league one year? But also, again, he's in the league at the same time as Steph and I guess, Chris Paul, his teammate, and Kyrie, and I guess we have to go back and we remember the guard rankings, Russ, James Harden, I guess actually point guard rankings as well too. But, or, shooting guards, whatever, Clay for a while there for sure. But, again, it's like, okay, maybe there was this one season where, yeah, Booker was playing the best and he was balling out. And the team, you see it, you saw it with the impact and the way that they were able to make the finals. So I don't know, is Booker, Cameron, is Jules Santana Chris Paul, or is Chris Paul Jules Santana? I don't know. But and again, his rhyming as well. I mean, him and Mace both, of course, just, I feel like it's sort of unreplicable by anybody today. I mean, it's just the fact as well too that, the guys today are being influenced by, I feel like, more modern influences than farther back. And even, again, even like the Kendrick, and I feel like now this is old head talking points at this point, but, even those guys, I guess, no, because Jid and Tyler and stuff, they are inspired by, the entirety of the game. But there is obviously a large segment of the sort of upcoming generation that, and maybe obviously Tyler and Jid are not necessarily on the rise, but in the middle of their primes and have had the work their way up as well too. Their starting point, of course, would be a little bit of a different generation. But yeah, I guess, like Future is a legend in his own right, but Playboy Cardi even more. So yeah, I guess that sound, whatever, is obviously super impactful right now. But again, their rhymings, of course, and their cadences, but even just the way their voices sound as well too, where Mace just had that sort of slicker voice, and I guess they're not always at the peak of their powers as well too on like songs together, but I guess now, and obviously being associated together back then, but now being associated together, of course, as well too. But just the sort of, again, the grittiness and the I guess is the enunciation the right way to say it? I don't want to simplify it by just saying that he pronounced the words really well on the rap songs, but his ability to again be able to deliver some of those bars with the clarity, but then there was still a roughness there to it. Pause was again still top tier stuff. So I guess again, mindset wise as well too, he's always going to be approaching it from that type of way. But those are kind of the guys that do end up. It's like, okay, who has the moment of in 03 he's able to send the top. It does have to be a guy that has a little bit of that, like we would say in sports, irrational confidence to be the best guy, or in a game, in a series where it's like, okay, would he be the best guy? I mean, we see with the way that he, of course, is, handling some of the stuff right now. And I don't know if he gets into necessarily rap beefs with other rappers. I guess, he gets into some of these guys from back in the day, but I think that they're obviously in a little bit of a different space now compared to where Cameron's at. But I'm trying to remember. I guess he was getting. We would have to go back and that would be the history. That's not getting brought up. The rap beefs that he was in back in the day. We go back and double check some of those YouTube videos. Speaking of Mace, the Oracle, we got fired. There was a stretch where the Oracle was like randomly popping on our shuffles where, and I don't know. If Spotify can kind of trick itself into keep giving you the same song and shuffle where it's like, okay, like how. And, shout out to the Oracle. It's obviously, I guess, a well-crafted song. It's just like, okay, I don't know if it's just a song I'm going to be listening to all the time if it pops on the shuffle. But, it's like, how many seconds of this before I skip it? It's like, does it register? If I skip it at the 11-second mark, does that count as a play? It's like, oh, well, he likes the Oracle. I guess we're queuing this up next time. Or is it, it's like, okay, as long as it's under 20 seconds, then it goes into, maybe think twice next time. But, shout out. I don't know. if this is going to be the only Cameron appearance or not. Let's hope not. But I am glad to see this one here at 79 for sure. So, Redman, There Is a Dark Side, 1994. Produced almost entirely by Redman and his mentor, Eric Sermon. Sounds very much like the chaos that would have been necessary to create a singular rapper. Reggae and funk ripple around the drums, while Reggie Noble slips in and out of a dozen different voices, doubling back over himself to riff about Reggie Jackson and stun his psychiatrist. You couldn't feel him in Braille. Oh, hey, yo. Oh, The Far Side, chat. Bizarre Ride 2, The Far Side, 1992. I mean, this as well probably can't be the only Far Side album. And I guess how far down the list do we get before we get a repeat as well? I'm sure you could, a top 100. I mean, with the names that we're pulling out here, chat, we could definitely go 100 names at this point. There is, a consideration for the entire game, which you do love to see, I guess. Shabazz, Palaces, Black Up, 2011. Shout out. No rap album has ever sounded like both the past and the future the way Black Up does. He's alt rap veteran Ishmael Butterfly Butler, 17 years removed from his crew, Diggable Plants, second album Blowout Comb, and is still experimenting on some of hip-hop's bleeding edge, entirely self-produced. As Impleberry's Black Up can be, how Butler's 90s sensibilities bounce off that make them so special. The lyrics, I guess, is what they get into their next. JJ Fad, Supersonic. First smash hit on Ruthless Records wasn't by Eazy-E or by NWA. It was by Electro Funk Madness of JJ Fad Supersonic. Or it was the Electro Funk Madness of JJ Fad. Supersonic kicks off with a beatbox session where the Retalio California rappers MCJB, Baby D, and Sassy C, and DJ Train introduce themselves before hot potatoing the mic around over producer Arabian Prince's out-of-body pummeling 808s. Originally a B-side, the song fell into the rotation of DJ sets so reliably that it was re-recorded and made the foundation of the entire party rap album of the same name. There, JJ Fad's rap fast, shout, dance floor commands were so overcome by ecstasy that they dip into word salad as the funked out of the beats of Arabian Prince with the help of DJ Ella and Dr. Dre. Spirit some of the most bugged out futuristic club anthems ever. Whoa, early Dr. Dre. I guess Ruthless Records, shout out, 1988. So, I mean, shout out, of course, to the ladies on the list, chat. You'll love to see it. And the first, I guess, group, maybe, if I'm remembering correctly, for, first ladies group, getting on the mix. When is Salt and Pepper going to be on the mix, chat? Are they top 50? Ghetto Boys? We Can't Be Stopped? 74. Now, see, the problem is, I feel like with some of the albums we've seen, some of the albums above it, I'm going to be like, what's this album? But the album itself, I guess, top 75, that's good. Outside of the top 50, again, it starts getting stacked. So there's going to be albums left off that we probably think are top 50 albums of all time, despite not having that much in common with as rappers and being relative strangers before becoming a group. Willie D, Scarface, and Bushwick Bill shared a commitment to audacity. Under the Ghetto Boys umbrella, the trio pushed gangster rap to grisly and funky extremes, depicting ghetto life as eternal Halloween night. Hey, yo. Of course, a couple of iconic hits. Let me look up here the one that I am thinking of specifically. It's got to be the most popular one on the album, because I'm assuming that's how we would have gotten that on a shuffle and then, or like a playlist somewhere, and then gone into a pause on that. Mind Playing Tricks on Me. That's the one I'm thinking of as maybe their number one, maybe on streaming. Let me see here. Yeah, definitely on streaming for sure. So this album is, in this group, expected to be represented here. And top 75, is this the first good placement? I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit low, but I guess we'll just have to continue to see what's about it. Armand Hammer, Rome, 2017. Elucid and Billy Wood's masterpiece is best understood as a collage. Taken as a whole, the blunts like Shaq's fingers, the Ghanaian grandmother who never utters a word of English but stays glued to American soap operas, the bad pad thai, the port-based red sauce, and the who couldn't stop posting on Facebook, the lead cursing through the pipes, the lead cursing through the pipes in Flint, the red dot beam at your crow's feet, the homeless people stepped over and taunted, the pockets with the Bobby Jangle, and the Mad Hatter asking DJ Vlad, do words even matter? Render an empire already crumbled, but full of the unforgettable. Hey yo, so I guess I guess about the fall of Rome, maybe, but a lot of questions asked here by Paul A. Thompson in this write-up. I don't know if he actually made any statements about actually how good the album is, but Mac Mall, our second Mac. We've gotten a Mac and a Mac Mall, so we're gonna get Mac Miller, I would assume, at some point as well too. Mac is, I guess, is gonna be the #1 album top rapper name for album quality. Mac Mall, illegal business? ? Is this illegal? We have to ask. 1993. Why even ask, chat? If we're asking, is it illegal? Then we're asking the wrong questions. I think we need to be asking, how do we get it legal, or I guess how do we make it appear legal? I don't, what questions are we asking here, chat? I don't know, but I guess if we're pushing some, I don't know, maybe we're pushing product of some kind. I think you just gotta. Well, I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of asking for forgiveness, but I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of asking for permission either. So I don't, I guess I don't know exactly what is, what are they asking? Illegal business? Maybe the music, is it so good? I don't know. But Mac Mall didn't talk much as a kid. He stuttered every time he opened his mouth. Oh, chat. I guess, Ayo. In his first crew, 13, the Vallejo rapper learned how to overcome a speech impediment. So there we go. He was able to eventually fight through something that he was, wanting to overcome. So you wouldn't guess he ever had. Yeah, so you wouldn't guess he ever had one from Illegal Business. The fiery debut while he still made it high school. Hey, yo, so he fixed, in his words, fixed, and then went to, and then went to make one of the top 100 albums of all time. Just directly afterwards, glides across 16 tracks of molasses-thick G-Funk with more panache than many of his peers, including his hero and collaborator, Mac Dre. We've got a fourth Mac, chat. Shout out. Crucial to his success is that production handled by Bay Area legend Kyrie, Singles Rifle with Flourishes, Don't Wanna See Me, Siquitous. Shout out, hey, yo. Mall adapts at every turn. You call him Mall for short? Mac Mall. Call him Mr. Mall. Jungle Brothers, straight out of the jungle. Where Public Enemy were political and Boogie Down Productions philosophical. The Jungle Brothers belong to hip-hop's spiritual wing. Oh, okay. So I thought maybe it was going to be in contrast, but it's like their corner of the thought world. Pause. But hey, yo. But on their 1988 debut, the pioneering conscious rappers, New Yorkers Africa, Baby Bam, Mike G, and DJ Sammy B mostly just sounded like they're having a ball, while their Afrocentric paeans to the motherland signal a commitment to black uplift. Their loosey-goosey grooves plundered from records by Mandrill, Manu Dibango, and Kool and the Gang, and were frequently scratched straight from the turntables to the tape. Shout out. So early sampling at its finest, and it is, of course, it is using all that initial technology and turntables and scratches to create this. I mean, I know it's saying some of the Afrocentric stuff, but it's sounding like foundational stuff, of course, for what sampling would become. in hip hop eventually. Wait a second. Straight out of the jungle's funk breaks, rainforest sound effects, and call and response rapping established the sampadelic bass line for future native tongues from De La Soul the Tribe. Hey, yo, chat, so we're going to not listen to this album now? Is that what we're saying? I don't know. But, I guess it is, like we're saying, maybe a weakness that we need to get caught up on. I don't know. But Jeezy, let's get it. Thug Motivation 101. This feels, if we're going based on one album, I feel like this could be in the conversation for, top 50. I was gonna say top 65. We're already, top 70. I feel like we're starting to get a little bit better on the list here. I don't know, but the placement is maybe starting to even out a little bit, but I could see it making a push into the top 50 for sure. And Go Crazy, I feel like if you still play that today, I know it is a Jay-Z feature as well, but I feel like if you still play that, people will know it, or there's a sound that's like, it's one of those songs that, oh, I feel like I've heard this before. There's a familiarity to it. So there is a staying power that this album has as well too. And '05 Jeezy, is '05 Jeezy versus '03 Cameron? Maybe they did have a beef as well too. But there is a little similarity there with the guys having their moment. Devin the Dude, Just Trying to Live, the year before, 2002. Every casual stoner rapper has some Devin the Dude in their music library, chat. Hey, yo. I gotta be honest, I don't know if Devin the Dude, you don't see the dude necessarily used as like a lil, where it feels like everybody can just, of course, be Lil B, Lil Baby, Lil Baby. There's probably a Lil Babe and a Lil Bae. There's all Lil B, Lil Bae, Lil Babe, and Lil Baby are all probably rappers on Spotify. But you don't necessarily have, or Young, of course, Young Thug, Young Jeezy, Young Lil Wayne. I don't know if that was a guy at one point, but I don't know if Young Lil Wayne the Dude, somebody needs to make that their rapper name. It would be, I feel like, a little bit difficult to be taken seriously right off the bat. But if you hit, that would be better than like Michael B. Michael B. Jordan's obviously getting to the point where the name Michael B. Jordan itself, he's taking that off the table. You have to go, George C. Scott. Was there two George Scotts before him? His parents are like, well, we can't name him George Scott. We can't name him George B. Scott because otherwise he's got to be George C. Scott. So I don't know. Young Lil Wayne C. the Dude is a rapper that is going to be emerging here in a couple of years. Be on the lookout. But you don't see people, again, thrown on Kendrick the Dude. Hey, yo, Che, I don't know. Maybe it needs to be workshopped a little bit. Devin the Dude has a nice ring to it. 50 Cent the Dude? Maybe Cent, of course. I don't know. But then that's all 50 as well too. 58 Cent would be a little. I guess all the 50s are all off the table. Somebody needs to be 60 Cent or 69 cents. Could be funny as well too. I'm sure somebody else tried that. Cool G Rap 456. Cool G Rap is often credited as the prognator of so-called mafioso rap, transposing crime stories from Coke era New York cigar lounge. I think it's Cook era, maybe cigar lounge of the mind of creating context for cigar lounge of the mind of creating a context for Nas and AZ to conflate their lives of those with those of Italian mobsters. Queens native is just as crucial a transitional figure, varying rap from practical nightclub showmanship of Big Daddy Kane's three-piece suits to something more rugged. Hey, yo, chat. Are they saying, like, Big Daddy Kane's the Drake of the day? People are going to get mad at that, but it's like dropping the club hits. Hey, yo, Cool G Rap with the conscious rap, bringing it in here? I don't know. But on his 4.56, his rhyming style, polysyllabic, like Rakim's, bursting with anger, is so tightly wound that even his most syntactical, straightforward verses feel endless and entrancingly dense. Syntactic, I don't think we got that word right, but I do feel like we're getting better at reading. I felt confident when I said that, but I don't think it is syntactical. I don't even know if syntactical is a word. Bad Bunny! Hey, yo, chat, the Super Bowl halftime man itself. We need to listen to this album so we know what songs is playing on Super Bowl halftime. But the 2020 album, what do we got here? Yo hago lo que me da la gana. I don't know if we read that right. We don't even know what that means. But Bad Bunny became their heir apparent. Take La Santa, where Daddy Yankee passes the crown. Did Daddy Yankee have the crown? Does Despacito count as the crown? I don't know. But the track, I guess what do you call it? The translation of this album, unfortunately, we're going to need here. We're not going to be able to know what it means. Let's see if somebody can help us out. Vet? What does that mean? I do whatever I want. Okay. Oh, wait a second. Did we say that right? I look at me. Yana? Oh, of course, chat. Hey, yo. We're idiots. Hey, yo? Why does it say, hey, yo? I feel like I'm just reading that. Once again, the pronunciation guides, of course, famously difficult to read for your boy. But Latin trap? I like the sound of that trap. I don't know. Never heard anybody describe Bad Bunny as Latin trap. Maybe it's because everybody's, for some reason, anti-Bad Bunny. But, I guess, I don't know if we have to be like, it's obviously not, we could say it's a hot take to be like, Bad Bunny's going to have a good Super Bowl. I don't even know why people were, why are people being anti-Bad Bunny? I feel like at this point, real people are bots, honestly. But we literally looked at this last year after the Kendrick halftime and looked at the landscape of the artists, and we were like, who is going to do the Super Bowl halftime, especially considering not just the fact that, it wasn't just obviously the fact that Kendrick did the Super Bowl halftime, but it's that he did the Super Bowl halftime off of the beef that he had with Drake. So now all of a sudden, if you're taking a side in that, Drake's not going to do the Super Bowl halftime, and if we're just talking artist scale in 2025, he'd be one of the ones that you would have to consider as well. And, I feel like maybe if we're just looking at the hip-hop world as well, too, and, Rock Nation as well is been scheduling, or been, booking, what's the right word? They've been casting, whatever. They've been the ones responsible for the Super Bowl halftime for the last how many years. So, there is a certain, they obviously trend a little bit more into the hip hop world than the Super Bowl halftime has in the past. That's for sure. But as the artists the artists have been a little bit mainstream in that sort of hip hop R&B crossover world, then it's made sense for the bigger stars to be the ones performing on that venue. And you do also have like SZA performing last year as well too. Do you have like SZA as just a repeat performer as a headliner? I guess Beyonce had some version of that if I remember correctly. Her timeline of appearances at the Super Bowl, but I think it was something similar to that. But and they have, of course, offered it to a bunch of other people that have turned it down, like Adele, or I don't know if they have offered it to Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars, I guess he's done it before. So the new guys as well too to do it, because Taylor Swift would be another name where it's like Taylor Swift, of course, I guess the biggest artist in the world, so clearly crazy enough to do the Super Bowl. But there was some ownership stuff in the footage over the event, so we'll see. Maybe in the future they'll end up working out a deal on that. You imagine that it'll be lucrative enough for both that they probably will at some point when they feel, I guess, whenever they feel the compromise is necessary to end up making one. But I think it made just total sense from a landscape standpoint of who has been at the peak of their powers long. Because you look at somebody like Sabrina Carpenter, who is again clearly one of the hottest names in they shout out, but just in terms of popularity, maybe other things, but also just in terms of popularity, one of the hottest names in just music in general. But in terms of, again, how many years she's just been at that, and I guess her artist timeline was, I'm trying to remember, because when she got the nomination at the Grammys for Best New Artist, it was a little bit of a discussion of like, oh, well, but she did drop these couple albums as like a kid star back in the day, so does she count as a new artist? Or maybe Coco Jones had the same thing as well, too. I don't remember. But, again, her real new introduction into music has really only been here. Let me see. How many albums is she on at this point? So, I don't know. Again, we can go back and look. I feel like somebody's going to have done the Super Bowl halftime after 2 albums. It's not, they're probably not exclusive to everybody. But you do have to not just be, again, the hottest album. So I guess she drops pretty consistently as well, too. So that's going to help, I guess, get the number up. 7th album already in 2025, but that is a 10-year run. But again, I don't feel like Eyes Wide Open. So maybe this is the album that we're thinking of. I don't know if this was considered a debut, but I'm trying to figure out, when the actual Sabrina Carpenter sort of flip switch happened in, I guess, the critics and stuff started taking it seriously. I guess I would go back and do the through the whole list. But I think she is up next year for consideration, not just consideration, but her name will be in the mix if that is if for next year's Super Bowl halftime for sure. But again, just popularity, been dominant for long enough. The international flair, I think it's a good time as well with the, I guess NFL. I guess there is obviously other statements to be made there, but just for them obviously popularizing themselves in the international game, it's something that they've been focusing on. So them, trying to expand an audience with the halftime, especially after the American halftime. I guess if we're saying Kendrick the American halftime, but after that halftime was so successful last year, you're kind of at the peak of American halftimes. Like maybe you have a little bit of a difficult time as well too getting another artist to follow it up or hyped up in the same type of way, or you just use the opportunity to again be able to expand to a different audience because that American audience is just locked in its I don't know, but again, it makes total sense for me anyways. Just think that especially knowing as well too, I remember going back at the time, I remember looking at some of the names that had turned it down as well, and just in the past, so it was like, okay, that's probably not gonna just they're probably not gonna end up doing it. So of who's eligible, and who hasn't done it yet, you start getting into who do they want to have multi-time Super Bowl performers. He seems like a great new option as well. Like we were saying, Sabrina Carpenter for sure. I guess Dua Lipa as well too. I guess SZA at some point, maybe an album or two, will a couple more halftime performances. You assume that she wouldn't be surprising if she got a nomination of her own, or a Super Bowl halftime performance of her own. But Houdini, Escape, 1984. Do we need to pick up the pace here a little bit, chat? Scarface, The Diary, at 65. Hey yo, do we need to take a break? And then when we come back, hey yo, Rem picks his nose, and then when we come back, we talk about Scarface, The Diary. It is what it is, chat. Don't go anywhere. Okay, chat, we're back. Scarface! Speaking of it, just off Tubi for, I guess, was on Tubi this past month. Just, of course, got taken off. Of course, obviously, you guys know the programming on Tubi. It just got taken off. I feel like, I really wish or Tubi would do like a Tubi Wrapped at the end of the year and give us a recap minutes. What movies did we watch the most? Because I feel like September alone, Scarface might be the number one. And Tubi, of course, does have that where a lot of the main films like that, of course, there's a little bit more, well, I guess maybe not more rotating. Them and Netflix. I guess Paramount and HBO and stuff, there's a certain level of mainstays, like we're saying, that they're just going to have. But I feel like we did play it at least once a day. For September, I don't know if we quite played it once a day, so maybe we'll set the over-under at 25 times for September. And that, like, just saying that, like, that's the amount of times that you watch a movie in your life. And I guess, I'm not sitting, do we sit down and stare at the TV for, I guess 25, how long is Scarface? Like 2.5 hours. So you can't do math, but 60 plus hours. Did we just sit in front? Yeah, obviously not. Like we said, we're the king of having stuff on in the background. It is what it is. If you want to have background movie programming, obviously the Rem and Sam Pod is the place to be. And that's why, again, I feel like if we go to the 1 per day average, it would have been a couple times in there where it was like just on, and I've looked over, like, oh, wait a second, Scarface? How long has Scarface not been playing for? Let me restart it and get going back again. So, because the chainsaw scene, I feel like I was the scene that I ended up seeing the most, and that's just tough, obviously, but it's like at an early enough part in the movie that, and then the ending scenes. I guess you're just watching those. You're just like, well, if you want, I guess how many minutes are the ending? Then I guess that times 25 is us. How many minutes we were actually locked in. But I guess the diary. Hey, what are we talking about? Pacino? Was Pacino on this album? I don't think so. I think it was the Wu-Tang member. Shout out the first Wu-Tang album on the list as well too, in the top 65 at number 65. Rock Marciano, 2012. Markberg sounded nothing sounded like this in 2010. It was an era of slick maximalist opuses like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Sir Lucius Leftfoot. Oh, Chad, is Sir Lucius Leftfoot gonna get a spot on the list? My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, imagine, is a list type album. So is our guy Big Boy gonna make the top 100? Is he gonna be in the top 60? Hey, let's hope that's not the one shout out that he gets, of course, over this article. All bright lit, effervescent, and inescapable. In reference to the albums we just said. In contrast, Markberg, the debut from Rock Marciano, it was very grayscale mafioso rap masterpiece, ensconced in a perpetual cloud of smoke. His aura suggests he always matches the pistol grip with the mink coat. A little Frank Lucas vibe there. Shout out. Markberg was the Velvet Underground and Nico for an entire generation of hip hop. Its timeless boom bap blueprint spawned a universe of alikes and devotees. 8-Ball and MJG on Top of the World, 1995. Not an album that we have listened to. 8-Ball and MJG, I can't say as a group that we've listened to that much, but we've definitely heard of them. It is what it is. I feel like there's been some sample stuff that if we looked up would be familiar, as well too, referencing them. While No Limit and Cash Money are often credited with popularizing pen and pixel album covers, it was the Houston label that pioneered them back in '93. And by the end of the decade, the Memphis duo were the go-to Southern rap features and movie soundtrack staples for labels trying to move units in the Low Country. After the breakout success of their debut, Coming Out Hard, Ball and G landed a national distribution deal with Relatively Records. Released on Halloween '95, On Top of the World would be the first LP to strike gold for the label. It featured fellow regional powerhouses like E40, Big Mike, and Mac Mall. We got a Mac Mall appearance. Shout out. It balances storytelling with her talking and introspection with playerism, proving that the two upfronts of upstarts from a place written off by executives could go toe-to-toe with any rapper. Chet! The Chronic is 62! Oh, man. This is really then... They're just like, okay, we got to just put legendary albums throughout to keep people engaged. That's... I mean, you could call it rage bait, but it really is just reader, like, we just need a Chronic chapter in here at some point. We need to mix in the heavy hitters. Like, I don't know, do we need to go every 20 albums and then that's the top 20 albums? I guess this is only a 100 top 100 list. So that'd be, 5 albums. But is that actually the top 5 albums of all time? Because that would make, I guess the Chronic is 62, so it's close. But that would make that and Doggy Style both in the top 5, which again is a lot closer for them being 160. So that's really what it is, chat. Rem and Sam Pod decodes the Pitchfork article. Not necessarily, the list is all honest, straight up front. But maybe Dr. Dre also has another album way higher up as well, too. Is Snoop and Dre's other follow-up to Doggy Style, Missionary, going to be higher than both of these? Could be a sleeper pick. But the Chronic at 62 is crazy. I would say that... Oh, I guess I wouldn't say that I would have lock in Doggy Style over the Chronic. I guess I was just gonna start spewing takes there for a second. Hey, yo, that's of course a close one, and Dr. J's just influence, and that's him around that time. It's kind of obviously comparing, and I guess Snoop's influence on the Chronic as well too. There is similarities to both their projects, and maybe you would say that Snoop is the best parts of. Well, I guess, again, we have to revisit the Chronic, but the most memorable, iconic parts of the Chronic are going to be the Snoop-Dre collaborative parts of that album. So that being the best part, and that kind of being what Doggy Style is, maybe that just is, Doggy Style is the best parts of the Chronic. Ayo, pause. But maybe that would make it the best, the better of the two? I don't know. But then, you could just say that the Chronic is better as well, and that would make total sense. But... that at 62 is crazy. The Chronic marks a canonical beginning to a certain gangster rap saga marred by bio-coastal warfare and 2 larger-than-life martyrs. But before the grim turn of the century, the inaugural Death Row LP heralded a birth not only for West Coast G-Funk, but several of its soon-coming kings. Ayo, pause. A lanky kid named Snoop Dogg and his crooning cousin Nate and a zooted Dr. Dre infused Cali rap with the bounce and rattle of a lowrider on hydraulics. Thank you, Premium Cannabis, for giving us a classic and naming it too. This, they're saying of course, the starting point of this in the G-Funk era is maybe what is giving it the nod over Doggy Style. They're not comparing them directly necessarily, but if they are, valuing the beginning projects of this stuff, maybe then that would give us a clue at some of the albums that would be more at the top of the list, or how it would be more organized as well too. But Draco the Ruler with Cold Devil 2017 Cold Devil presented his South Central as being full of lowbrow luxury, sub-heat shootouts. Is that like Heat the movie? Hey, yo. Talk about top-level shootouts. Lean binges, illicit trips to Neiman Marcus, and enemies who lurk behind every corner, but don't dress as well as him. Ooh, chat. Now the list is really starting to heat up. Hey, yo, they got a lot of cuts mixed in here, chat. We got the Marshall Mathers LP moved all the way down to 60. Hey, yo. Maybe Pitchfork not as sold on Dr. Dre as we thought. Maybe there's a beef between the two. Maybe Dr. Dre Pitchfork diss track on the way. But the Eminem project that could be arguably his best. I mean, it is. I think it's his best selling, right? This is the one that was crazy. Yeah, 1.78 mil in the first week alone feels like that is more than top 60. That alone probably should be the best-selling first-week album of all time for a hip-hop standpoint is the 60th best album of all time. I guess, is Scorpion going to be on this list? It might, chat. Who knows? So I guess not every million plus crazy numbers album is going to be on the mix. But again, there's a quality here as well. I guess Eminem always won the Grammy, so I probably won the Grammy for best rap album. But for this type of monumental moment, I guess, to be recognized as just 60 is a little confusing as well. And even I don't even necessarily like listen to Eminem all that much, but if really, I don't know, like me personally, if ever, how much Eminem am I really queuing up? But you gotta respect the album for what it is, and hopefully, I guess maybe they're like, if the list does say that the Slim Shady LP is better than the Marshall Mathers LP, or maybe they have like the encore or something. But yeah, I would have to go back. I for me personally, I really like revisiting the Slim Shady LP, and that if I'm gonna go back to Eminem, that'd be the one that I would go back to. And again, it's not necessarily something that I find that seamlessly kind of queues up into the rotation of a lot of songs that I'd be listening to. But regardless, if the list does say that Slim Shady is better than Marshall Mathers in terms of if the SSLP is better than the MMLP, just that it's higher on the list, then that's okay. But Marshall Mathers at 60 is a little bit absurd for the list. DJ Screw, 3 in the Morning Part 2, 1995, another 1995 sequel as well. So multiple 1995 sequels making the list. ASAP Rock? ASAP chat? Hey, yo, we don't have to say this guy's name. Labor Days, The Ultimate Passion Project, an album about loving what you do and compromising for no one. Maybe one of the most verbose and technically gifted rappers to ever pick up the microphone. And, as a name you hear, of course, because of that, rappers reference him quite a bit in terms of, being influential as well, too. So this would be an interesting one to check out, because I guess we haven't really listened to him much as an artist. Like you said, like you heard, I don't even know really how to say his name, but he is maybe one that we would go back and see kind of what's the hype for sure, but especially as a building block piece as well too. Just what's that foundational piece that a lot of guys are trying to get into the mix. Oh, Fear of a Black Planet, Public Enemy, number 57. They don't make them like this anymore, and not only because it's illegal. If a group were to turn in an album with as many legible samples to their major label, the label's legal department would dangle them by their ankles out the window. Hey, yo, what the Bomb Squad achieves on Fear of the Black Planet is staggering. Those samples fragmented and re-engineered into collages that create new textures and scramble their meanings coalesce in a way that's predictably overwhelming, but unsurprisingly unidirectional. Chuck and Flav have unsparing and unafraid. There is no time to equivocate, and there are no concessions to be made. So, I would expect that Public Enemy is going to be making an appearance, hopefully much later on the list. I mean, this is another one, depending on how much you want to, favor one album's discography versus another. If you're going to make a list and be like, okay, I'm going to limit the number of albums I have per one artist, where, like we're saying earlier, I'm just not going to necessarily make a top 20 albums list and put Kendrick has 4 or 5 of the top 20 albums of all time. It's like, okay, well, obviously, there is a version of that that's true, but maybe it'll go for a little bit more variety. So if you were going for variety, this is probably not, again, the Public Enemy album that's going to be fairly represented in that way. But there is a version of the list where you're just going, okay, let me be just honest with myself and not care about that stuff. And this album does jump up, maybe half, double, whatever the right way to say it is, the amount of spots. Gucci Mane, Chicken Talk, 06. NBA YoungBoy proclaimed himself Gucci Mane in 2006 on his 2019 standout. Makes no sense. Could be interpreted in a few ways. But for argument's sakes, let's go with the safe bet. In 2005, after his relationship with fellow Atlanta star Jeezy went south. Speaking of beefs with Jeezy, chat, not Cameron, Gucci Mane. Gucci has 4 men targeting him in a home invasion. It landed him in jail for just months after his anthemic Icy single placed him at the forefront of the country, of his city's new guard. But the following year, he got off on self-defense and used the near-death experience as the ultimate validation and never looked back, inadvertently laying the blueprint for street artists who followed in the decades later. So, of course, you know, the crazy ride of our guy Gucci Mane, but, you know, did lose a little bit of the stretch of the middle there as well, too. You definitely can't forget about that. BG! Chopper City in the Ghetto, 55. Juvenile's 400 Degrees was the album that made Cash Money Record a household name. But if Juvie was the glossy exterior of the new built McMansion, living room jacuzzi included, BG was the foundation it was built on. A concrete slab that a lot of people knew about, that knew a lot about jewelry and would pull the balance of bounce power in rap down to the bayou. While Juvie and BG's LP have the same number of similarities, they were both essentially showcases from the broader CMR roster. So it does have the lineage of course, that great label and that great curation that can happen from those type of times. But yeah, again, has necessarily made it into our rotation in modern day. But Pop Smoke, Meet the Woo, 2019. Definitely the what do you call it, conciseness of this project does make it incredibly re-listenable, of course, and it's just really great with Pop Smoke and just, you know, those peak sort of old, I guess old, but those like late teens, early 20s, maybe more so late teens, Brooklyn sort of drill trap vibes going on. And again, it is a little bit more curated, where the Shoot for the Stars is, you know, an all-time album that we love going back to as well. Maybe it is on the list, but it doesn't necessarily go as crazy in the original track list. I'm trying to think. A couple of those early tracks, but it is a little more laid-back R&B, mid-tempo rap kind of focus throughout than the kind of stuff he's doing on Meet the Woo, where, again, I had to go back, because I do, again, like going back to some of the chiller stuff on there. But Meet the Woo is one of those great trap albums as well too, or, you know, mixtape, I guess, you know, how's it labeled on Spotify. But a master class in hawking, full of grit and the kind of brazen arrogance that comes best from the 5 boroughs. And no matter where you went, Pop Smoke's overshadowing voice could rattle a room, raise the decibels at any function. Pop was just killed 7 months after his debut, so he never truly got a chance to build on the ferocity of Welcome to the Party, Meet the Woo, Dior, but Meet the Woo stands as an opening salvo of what could have been. Hey, yo, chat. What could have been. 6 Mafia Underground, 3-6 Mafia Underground Volume 1. And this is a little bit of a compilation album. Much of the appeal of 3-6 Mafia's canonical discography stems from the way the 2 founding members act as creative foils. So we're putting compilations albums on here? Hey, yo. So the Nas Greatest Hits album is the 4th best album of all time. He has to have a Greatest Hits album. If not, Nas, our second piece of marketing advice out here. Nas, if you're in the chat, drop a Greatest Hits album. Drop another one. Maybe just to older artists in general in the chat. Bring back those albums. They are interesting to look at when your offense is inept and your defense is barely not getting a stop on the sideline, and the drives just continue to keep on going a little bit longer. But Lil Kim, Hardcore, 1996. Oh, chat, they reference Salt and Pepper, but no actual Salt and Pepper on the list. So we're at 52. I am starting to get a little nervous about that. I'm not going to lie. Salt and Pepper not going to make an appearance? Very necessary? Not a top 100 album of all time? Oh, that'd be quite the bummer, chat. I don't know if I would be prepared for that one. but even some fans of the overall Salt and Pepper songs and the cheeky punch of MC Light's Roughneck could have foreseen the arrival of Lil Kim. In one track, she's crowing about her oral prowess over a Sylvester sample, relegated then burgeoning legend Jay-Z to the rare back and roll. The next, she oozes her cocksure swagger and panache for luxury over Vertiflax's airy and bright piano melodies. In all in a potent 411 package. In Kim's world, men were objects to be conquered, whether on wax or in the bedroom, or in her tongue-in-cheek fantasies. Oh, I thought it was just gonna be in her tongue-in-cheek. I was like, whoa! Hey, yo. Hey, Lil Kim. Maybe that's Ayo us. I don't know. IT. Might have to do some editing there. But Boogie Down Productions, Criminal Minded, 1987. Has it been a run for the 80s? Am I crazy? Have we? Yeah, the Chopper, 99. I guess we scroll back a little bit. No 80s, chat. It has been a second. So maybe as we, again, trend to the top and as the grassroots, the foundational pieces are being maybe a little more rewarded, we'll have to see. Maybe there's a couple of those pushed up the list. And I guess, for the most part, the variety's been pretty good. I don't know if we just go rank the heavy hitter albums, pull those out afterwards and see. But just because some of these albums we haven't heard of doesn't mean that they're not better than some of these other albums. It's just, of course, that there is big moments and so much stuff attached to it as well, too. Other than just, what does a one-to-one sort of listen look like? But Chief Keef, Almighty So. At first, it was jarring to hear Chief Keef, the Chicago rapper who pioneered the wall of sound bludgeoning of the drill, go from the Thundercats crescendos to all his major label debuts. Finally, Rich and Bang Part 2 to a sludgy reverby mixtape. Hey, yo. So he did release a follow-up to Almighty So recently, the iconic project, trying to tap back into pause that old sort of ways, and it didn't quite, but it's a great project to love to, and I think it is actually pretty good as well too, so we got to give it some credit. But J Dilla Donuts 49, and that was number 50. So Chief Keef, Almighty So is a top 50 album of all time. Hey, yo, I could see it. Do we flip it with Scarface, chat? We might have to trade Scarface for the Chief Keef, Almighty So. That still puts Chief Keef at what? Top 25? If I'm not mistaken? Or is it somebody else? I don't know. But J Dilla with Donuts, and the instrumental album, of course, is iconic. Beats production, one of the iconic producers, of course, rest in peace to J Dilla. But is one of the few albums, again, that is really a production album like this that can have the sort of same replay value as Way in some of these albums. And maybe that's just for some reason, listening habits of people that listen to this type of stuff don't necessarily like to listen to just beats. I don't know. But again, there is an entertainment value to Dilla's album that you don't necessarily even need the lyrics. You don't even want the lyrics. You just want to hear the way he has everything chopped up and the loops and the samples, and it's all been pretty locked in. A title, wait a second, A Tribe Called Quest. Hey, yo, A Title Called Quest. Is that what we're talking about? Azalea Banks, Broke with Expensive Taste, 2014. Drake, Take Care, at 47. Oh, chat, one of those, of course, darling critical albums. I mean, for good reason. It's obviously a iconic album. And speaking of the start of something, it is the start of, Drake's domination on the game there for a little while. It says almost all of Drake's dreams came true relatively fast. Hey, yo, it's a lot of him getting high by himself and starring as digital stars projected on Sicilian's mansions, passing his time having spending money on winning and commiserating with friends and having. Oh, wait a second. We're just reading 2 lines again. It's Moody and Unfiltered Drake, rapping and singing on Noah 40's iciest and gloomiest spins. 90s R&B, trying so hard to be the man he thinks he should be. A shame that it's not working. It's a mess, but there's nothing else like it. Take Care it will always be. Hey, yo, should we know the lyrics a little bit better? Oh, wait a second. I was looking at the quotes. I was like, I don't remember this being lyrics in the album. But yeah, yo, it is what it is. Shout out to Take Care. I don't know if that means that maybe Views and Scorpion, some of those other projects, are going to get a little bit more recognized up on this list. Drake, 2 top 50 entries would be kind of impressive for sure. But if he gets 1 with 47, that would be brutal for him. You know, I don't know if they're making a statement. Post beef as well. 50 Cent and G Unit. 50 Cent is the future. Forgetting about 50 Cent's world-stomping debut, the G Unit mixtape, 50 Cent is the future, is really where he's worried about getting rich, die trying on. Ooh, see there, chat? Because 2003, maybe he was already rich. Who knows? But on the O2 tape, 50 clicked up with his boys Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo, gets off some of the grimiest and most out-of-pocket gangster rap bars ever laid down. And you see maybe the 50 inspiration to the Tyler album this year as well too starts to get a little bit obvious. 2002, we've got a number 7 Clippers jersey. I mean, the Lawrence Taylor, for sure, right? The Lawrence Taylor Giants jersey, 58. Do we need to even look up? I think there was no way it wasn't retired by 02. They were probably retired it while he was playing, and they're like, oh, wait a second, you're still playing? You can still wear your own number. It's okay. But number 7 on the Clippers, 2002? Does that go back into time with the Clippers? Is that like Bill Walton when he was with the Clippers? He was, hey, yo, chat, how do you spell Clippers? I don't even know. When he was with the Clippers, was he number 7? I don't think he was taking that one for the jersey. So they released this when? Did it say they released it? I guess it's not going to necessarily have a date on here. But 2002, sometime that year. So if we were to, you know, just estimate real quick, it probably wouldn't be too wild anyways. But there are a couple of guys that are starting to get established as leading. Oh, wait a second. Rushing? We'll get there, chat. We'll get there. It is what it is. Hey, yo. Back to our guy Gino. 7 picks. Shout out. But, yeah, here. Shout out, of course, again, to the 50 Cent group. And 50 Cent is the future. Landing in at 46. And then Danny Brown, 2012. Triple X. Danny Brown, you know, Atrocity Exhibition is one that a lot of people, of course, cite as sort of his top project. And the project that I think he dropped most recently, I guess Scaring the Hose as well, too, with Danny Brown, is another one that could definitely be on a top 100 list. And the album that he dropped as a solo, I think his most recent one, cool. I guess I'm not going to be able to say the name of it quite right, but that one is another album of the year contenderish type album back in the, you know, a couple years ago. So the fact that it is him making an appearance on this list is not super surprising. And again, with that consistency in his discography as well too, to get representation at a little bit higher spot just as an individual makes a little bit of sense as well. You know, he's starting to earn top 50. I don't know if they're saying top 50 artist of all time, but they are. Oh! They got his album one spot behind To Pimp a Butterfly, chat. 44. Oh, so we really did decode it. So the top 5 is Doggy Style, The Chronic, To Pimp a Butterfly. Do we just scroll to see what number 20 is? Because that'll be 2, and then number 1 will actually be number 1. Or something around that. Whichever one around that list we like, around that part of the list we like most, will end up being number 1. I'm not sure, but To Pimp a Butterfly at 44. And this has to go to artist just to some variety. at this point, because we still have Good Kid, Mad City. We still have, I guess, GNX maybe if we're going new time as well too. Mr. Morale won Best Albums so at the Grammys, so you could definitely throw that into the top 100 rap albums of all time. I'm sure it could be in consideration. Again, we probably would have gotten to it at this point, but my point is we still have maybe 2 other Kendrick albums to go. So unless they're just simply going for the fact that, like we're saying, Kendrick would have 3 of the top 20 albums, and it's just be like, do we be biased toward everybody in that way, and then the top 10 is just the top 20 is just 4 different artists, or do we try to mix it up? Because again, Danny Brown to Pimp Butterfly, it's like, oh, we're really going to different spectrums here. But I don't know. Would people say, like, Fantano might like this part of the list? I don't know. I don't know if he would agree with it being in the 40s, but maybe XXX and To Pimp a Butterfly, at least in this order is probably right. But, being so closely related around this list, I don't know. Is he a big 50 Cent is the future fan? Probably not a big fan of Take Care, so who knows? And I guess, again, they do have, like, Take Care and T-Pap at similar spots on the list, so I don't know. I feel like those albums in a different world, again, are in similar spots, just labeled differently. And Die Lit! Hey, yo, Chad, this is an elite run. We've got Danny Brown, Kendrick Lamar, and Die Lit. And these are all, there's a contemporariness here as well, too, where it feels like up until now we've been bouncing around. Yeah, 11, 02, I guess 11, 14. And then 06 would have been a little bit of a different time. And again, it's a little bit of a different album feel. 13. So we're trending a little newer here as well. That 80s album was the last, I guess, 80s/90s album, honestly, at this point. So Die Lit, Playboi Carti. I guess he did get the spot on the graphic, on the write-up, or the picture over the top of the article. So I don't know if that says something for his career. Does that mean Whole Lotta Red's in the top 10, chat? Hey, yo, Whole Lotta Red gets a lot of credit for unleashing his, or gets a whole lot of credit for unleashing a legion of rage demons, but Die Lit remains his magnum opus. Who knew a 21-year-old SoundCloud rapper would make the 21st century's answer to Loveless a bliss-oozing masterpiece? So they're saying it's his magnum opus, but does that mean it's going to be the best album that he has on the list? I almost guarantee you that means that that Whole Lotta Red is way up higher on the list then, because they would definitely contradict themselves in saying something like that. Missy Elliott! Hey, yo, chat, we got a music video on in the background right now. It's totally fitting. 42? The Real World? I feel like we got to get, hey, yo, now I'm going to be blanking on the name of the initial studio album that she dropped. What was the name of her studio debut? Is the word that I'm thinking of. Super Duper Fly, chat. Super Duper Fly. The Real World number 2. Missy's So Addictive, and Under Construction is, of course, a crazy 4-album run to start their career. I do like, I guess maybe I've listened to Super Duper Fly more recently, more over the last couple more years. But there really is no wrong one. And I mean, Missy So Addictive is maybe the one that does get a little more of the replay value. I don't know. But shout out, of course, to her for continuing to crush this many years. And you've got Run DMC now at 41. Hey, yo, so it's going to be a bunch of randos above this, chat. Lil Wayne, The Drought 3. I mean, we're getting stacked up on the list at this point. Again, actually, again, we start taking them out. Take out certain albums. T-Pap versus Run DMC. I mean, that's a good argument. And I think there is a world where you put, obviously, Run DMC, the legacy of this album, over T-Pap in a ranking. 41 versus 44 versus that Playboi Carti is a little bit of a different take. Versus The Drought 3, with as good as that is. Bone Thugs and Harmony at 39, chat. Bum, 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 bum. We made the top 30. Do we have to take another quick break? Hey, yo, chat. This might just be the show. It is what it is. I think tonight we're just reacting to this pitchfork list. No player rankings. Shout out. We'll just have to see. But, yeah, stay tuned, chat. We've got the top 40 up next, right after this. There we are. We are back, chat. The top 40. We finally made it to Bone Thugs and Harmony. I guess, is this the first? Well, I was going to say the first nominee. The nominee from the first year. We did have T-Pap and I guess, Take Care 1 and a couple others. So there are a couple other, I guess, Missy Elliott as well, too. I'm trying to think. Playboy Cardi didn't get nominated, but I guess 50 Cent has gotten nominated. I don't know album-wise. I don't think Dilla did. But, yeah, anyways, we were at, let's see here, Lil Wayne, shout out to The Drought 3. And, I keep saying that, all these repeat albums that we're going to get as well, too. But, again, 39, like, we're at the point where maybe we would need to get to a repeat album here at some point. Again, Missy Elliott off the board. Kendrick, I guess, again, we're going to see another Kendrick album. We would assume that would be a repeat as well, too. The Carter 3 has a repeat, but the Drought 3 as well, too, or the Carter 2 maybe on the list. I feel like we have to get one more Lil Wayne at least. Pause. But again, that 90s, early 90s, the day is this. No, Feel Me Flow is the Naughty by Nature. Hey, yo, maybe there is a reason they won. Feel Me Flow is a pretty good song, of course. Hey, yo, are we still connected? Testing 1, 2, 3. We'll see if the system gets back up and going here. It seems like we're having some technical difficulties. Oh, IT. We were doing so good. Pause. I don't know what the hold up is now. Hey, yo, chat. Most of the time, it would kind of work. IT is good at getting the problem solved quickly. But it does seem like we are stuck a little bit with the connection. So I know we still got the pod recording going. Hey, yo, I guess we don't want to necessarily slow down for that. It is what it is. Oh, there we are. Okay, I think we're reconnected and back. Shout out. So I guess I maybe that got cut out there with the disconnection, but if not, either way, we are live and cooking again. So the Beastie Boys, 38. See, this is one that I would not, if we had gone through the whole list and Paul's Boutique had not been on the list, I would not have been able to recall Paul's Boutique. I don't know if I have any Beastie Boys songs saved in any playlists, but who knows? We might throw on Paul's Boutique at some point. Licensed to Ill? We might be more likely to throw on that one because of the James Bond potential ties there. I don't know if there's like a Paul's Boutique James Bond reference that we're missing from some of the earlier ones. But Beastie Boys, and again, Licensed to Ill is another. Like, are we going to get a repeat are we going to get two Beastie Boys here in the top 40? Jizzo, Liquid Swords. So the Wu-Tang we've been a little, hesitant to reveal I guess we haven't had the Wu-Tang albums on the list yet, and that's good. Those are ones that do need to be higher up on the list. Again, we did have we had the Diary, but this is and Wu-Tang themselves. I guess the Triumph didn't make the earlier part of the list, because I imagine, we're going to get another Wu-Tang later in the list. I don't know if Triumph is going to be also in the top 20, top 35 here. But, that one could... Or is that a track? Or is that the album here? Let me look up what is it the second album? Obviously, the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, the Wu-Tang's first album, is the... I guess I should say, obviously, that's the one Wu-Tang Chamber? I don't know if that's the right thing here. Yeah, Wu-Tang Clan. Here we go. Wu-Tang Forever is the album I'm thinking. I was thinking of that album cover when I was saying the title. But I think that's a track in the song. It better be. Yeah, shout out. I don't know. That's the one we were thinking of. But for some reason, that was the one that came to mind there. So that album is pretty good as well, too. I guess the reviews. Hey, yo, we got a couple of 4s and 5 stars. LA Times liked it. 4.5. Ebert, did he do album reviews? Oh, Chicago Tribune. Or was he was Chicago Sun Times or something like that. But they gave it 4 out of 5. So, again, they thought it was good. But I don't know if that's making the list, chat. So that one probably could be on this list as well, too. Like, maybe Triumph versus Sexy Red. Slide in the DMs and let us know what you guys think. But... All right, what was the name of the actual album? Anyway, we just went right back to Wu-Tang Forever. Wu-Tang Forever versus Hood Princess. Let us know. Liquid Swords by Jizzy. Yeah, of course. Again, if we're going the cinematic album, Wu-Tang was as great as implementing some of that stuff as anybody. And I feel like there was speaking of tracks that were in the shuffle. Is it the intro track for that album? That I would assume it is. That lays out like the story where it's like, my dad was a samurai. Yeah, it's got to be, of course, the Liquid Swords. We fire it out. There it is, chat. It's way too loud. Hey, yo. I don't know if this is the best album intro of all time. When I was little, my father was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire. He was the Shogun's decapitator. He cut off the heads of 131 lords. It was a bad time for the empire. The Shogun just stayed inside his castle and he never came out. Pause. The people said his brain was infected by devils. My father would come home and he would forget about the killings. He wasn't scared of the Shogun, but the Shogun was scared of him. Maybe that was the problem. One night, we get the story, chat. The story, it's riveting. I gotta say, maybe this is a list, chat. Maybe we're already revealing the list, but like the albums that should be turned into movies, because of course, and we'd say it with everybody, the Good Kid, Mad City feature film we'd be there front row first day. But Liquid Swords, speaking of Tubi, chat, Liquid Swords on Tubi, who's not watching that? We could probably get Wu-Tang to star in it. I don't know. We could get the guys. I mean, this would be crazy Hollywood Inception right here. But if we got the guys that played Wu-Tang in the Wu-Tang show to play the guys in the Liquid Sword show, maybe it would work, chat. I don't know. But I think Liquid Swords would be a fun one. And we didn't even actually, and that was just the description of the, getting into the intro as well too. That doesn't even get to the one night the Shogun sent his spies to their house. They were supposed to kill my father, but they didn't. That night, everything changed. See, sometimes you get flashbacks, and then I guess we start getting into the track, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. But yeah, one of the fun albums to, of course, throw on and listen to. I always debate what the best Wu-Tang album, the Wu-Tang solo album is, because I think the high-end production of what some of, at least for us, our personal taste, the Ghostface, some of like Ghostface best produced tracks in our mind are some of our favorite production across, again, the Wu-Tang discography. But just in terms of that start to listen, finish, and again, how entertaining this one is from a cinematic value, it is just incredibly fun. So this is, shout out. There's probably there's a version where this is, top 10. I don't know if any of the solo Wu albums you would make a case for as a top 10 album of all time. I think, the 36 Chambers, of course, would be the one, and they would all, of course, get that representation in the big legacy way in that one. And then just to see the fact that they all individually were able to accomplish on their own, because that's what's so fun, again, about the Wu-Tang as well. Like we're saying, obviously they had great solo albums, but the fact that they did have so many great solo albums, and of course you have to shout out to RZA for that, but again, the artists themselves, the guys in the verses themselves were able to bring their own personalities in very unique ways. And again, the albums are cinematic and fun to listen to in a full project type way for different reasons, and gives you a good, you get like again, it's all Wu-Tang, so at the end of the day, there are going to be some overlapping similarities, but for the most part, it does feel like each artist did, and that's, again, shout out to RZA as well too, but they are set up in their own way to be their own artist, and they can legitimately all have, again, top 50, top 35 albums of all time, just based on the strength of their solo catalogs. Just based on those albums alone, of course. But it's like the college team that won the national championship, and then they all it's kind of like Villanova, where they all win they go on to win the national championship, and then they all end up having the good NBA careers as well too. Or like that Florida team with Horford and Joakim Noah and even Corey Brewer. If you do the documentary on the Florida team, like Corey Brewer was a fun part of that Rockets 3-1 series win over the Clippers, or that major win. I guess I don't remember if it was a 3-1 series in general, but that game in that series where they had that dramatic comeback without James Harden. So at least you get a whole storyline of Corey Brewer, impactful NBA guy, throughout the course of that type of moment as well too. So Wu-Tang is kind of that similar thing where that album, of course, alone was great, but then all of the solo careers, it kind of is like, yeah, this also gets to represent just this entire spectrum of, just all of these kind of great hip hop careers combined into one. So I guess that album's a little bit later as well. But yeah, Liquid Swords 37, shout out E40 in a major way. Shout out low key, one of the cleanest album covers. Just the watch straight across the front is, I don't know if that's something somebody's copied as well too. Somebody steal this E40 album cover, and maybe you do something. I don't know if you have to put your superimpose an image of yourself cooking up on the stove in the same type of way, or impose any kind of image. Maybe you just impose the image on the background or something. I don't know. Try to make it different in one type of way. Again, you could pay homage. We just call it homage, chat. Ripping off or homage? What is it? But DMX 35. It's dark and hell is hot. I think this is getting a little bit. This is not crazy far off. I think you could make a top 20 case for this one for sure. I think DMX this time period as well. I think you might put just this the sort of, if we were going rewatchables here, the Juice, the Apex Mountain for DMX might be higher than the 35th best Apex Mountain of all time. But this is starting to get into the right range for this album. I guess DJ Quick, Rhythmalism right after it. I don't know if that's how we would necessarily have it ranked. EDMP, Strictly Business. See, that's starting to get, I guess we're just ripping through them here now, but that's starting to get to the level where maybe this could be like 5 or 6 spots too low. But I guess maybe the 30s, this kind of mid 30s tier, maybe late 20s, I don't know, would be a little bit more. So I guess we're only about 10 spots off for this DMX album. That I guess compared to T-Pap, that's not too bad. Hey, yo, now we're comparing Pitchfork against itself. At this point, it's like Caleb Williams throws. It's like well, at least he's hitting the open guy. It's like, okay, well, at least DMX at 35 is not T-Pap at 44. So shout out to the writers. Samuel Hyland, is that actually the name, or am I subconsciously reading this Salma Hayek ad right here and everything name is just going to be kind of similar? I don't know. But we got, again, DJ Quick into the mix as well. Oh, excuse me, Jay. Hey, yo. I feel like, DJ Quick is, and I mean, as he should be, but is one of the most represented DJs here on the list. And maybe there's a couple of DJs that are not going to necessarily, like, is an album like Watch the Throne's going to get represented in the same type of way? Because, again, I mean, maybe Jay-Z's, I guess, maybe not had a 100% awesome run since then, but obviously not the same way that Ye has. Hey, yo. Like, I'm sure that we'll get at least one, because you can't tell the story without it, and maybe it would be I guess, to be honest, like, if Pitchfork leaves him off, I would get it. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I mean, we all understand that certain albums would be on certain spots if the timeline hadn't played out the way it had, but there's obviously alternate timelines in the Marvel MCU. It's like, oh, this never happened, and we're celebrating him as the greatest artist of all time. But if they go to a approach where it's like, yeah, he's not going to have any albums on this list, it is what it is. He did that to himself. But also, if they have one in representative, we get it as well, too. And then some of those other projects, like we're saying, don't get... And, maybe an album like... I guess, is Pusha T going to be on this list, chat? Hey, yo, we're at 34 and there's no Pusha T. I can't imagine Pitchfork is going to leave Pusha T off. But you wonder if some of those types are... what's like the Kids See Ghost project, some of those types of projects might not be on a top 100 list in the same type of way if you're not, wanting to put his name to too many spots. I don't know. But, yeah, like we were saying, this is at least a range-wise feeling like we're starting to get a little bit more accurate. Strictly Business. The 80s, again, I guess we got DJ Quick. Oh, 98. Hey, yo. So yeah, the first 80s appearance in I guess Paul's Boutique. 89 though, starting to get on the edge there for a second. Pause. Capone and Noriega, the War Report, and I mean Drink Champ. Shout out. I've been staring down the. Is this the? Am I thinking of the right guy, chat? Hey yo, am I thinking of? Is it just Nori? Is this not his full name? Hey yo, let's double check here. Rem learns history. Either way, I've been staring down his discography for a long time, thinking of, just ripping through those albums. Let's see here. Is it not? Are these two different guys? For some reason, I was thinking, okay, these are the same guys, chat. Hey yo, and then yeah, part of the hip hop duo. Okay, again, we just had to double check. Been a couple years since they dropped this album, so I don't know if it's necessarily looking like the Drink Champ studio over here, but yeah, like we were saying, we are definitely maybe now gonna go and give all those albums a listen, because I guess if we ever stop listening to Drink Champs and give us time to listen to his old music, chat. Ayo, it is what it is. Oh, ayo, chat. I mean, hopefully I say this guy's name, his name right. Rest in peace. He unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, and I don't know exactly the full story of what happened there, but I think is it Ka or K? It's K-A is how you spell it. I think it might be Ka, but Descendants of Cain, his 2020 album, was one of those projects that a lot of people have really upheld his lyricism as some of the finest in the game. In the 2020s when he was going, or late 20-teens, whatever years his main years of activity were, but he was always again being upheld as a great lyricist, and his projects were always super well regarded. And maybe we never necessarily got into he never necessarily, as I guess, was personally, we can't necessarily speak to a lot of those projects, but again, just I imagine if we did listen to him with the way that everybody talked about him, I can't imagine we would have a different take. So again, unfortunately, his discography, is what it is at this point in terms of the amount of albums that we're going to get. But it does seem like, as a case for a lot of artists on this list of, that did unfortunately have the shorter run, it's like, they did maximize, of course, the albums that they had. And like, to his credit, again, has all-time projects, has a all-time type discography as well, too. And a top 31, Descendants of Cain, is crazy. Crazy good for his spot on the list. 30 is UGK, Riding Dirty. So UGK versus DMX? See, that's pretty close. I feel like you could flip both those albums either way, but they do feel very similar ranks. So I feel like we're dialing it in a little bit. We're mixing in, again, some of the underground cuts, Descendants of Cain. I might not necessarily know all of the underground cuts again throughout the list as well, too. We got, again, another sort of 90s cut in the mix with our guy Nori. But Project Pat, Mr. Don't Play, working on Everything's Working. Wait a second, we got a double title here for Project Pat? Hey, yo, Mr. Don't Play, Everything's Working. Throwing me off a little bit. I don't know why I can't read it. But, yeah, they have this album over the actual 3-6 Mafia albums, or have we gotten to 3-6 Mafia albums yet? Oh, The Blueprint is 28. Oh, Chad, is The Blueprint the second best album of all time? Are we getting into that range? The 20s. We got to be on the lookout for the second best album of all time. We're trying to decode this Pitchfork article here. But Project Pat, of course, his influence on the game as well, too, I just think individually is been very noted as well, too. So you do have to give him his credit as part of, I guess if this is, maybe we don't know his discography as well, but if this is his standout project, then, I imagine he's going to get credited with the legacy and the career as well. But I'm sure the project obviously holds up compared to all the other ones. But the Blueprint, so, again, are we going to get two Jay-Z's here? Like, are we going to, is the number one, imagine Pitchfork, the number one Jay-Z at 28 would be a little bit low. Is Hard Knock Life going to be in the top 5? But, Reasonable Doubt would be up there in 5 years in between Jay-Z's debut, Reasonable Doubt, and this. The Brooklyn native helped lay a smooth polish over New York City's rugged reputation. He played the streets like many of his hip-hop peers, but was stylistically more akin to Bad Boy's brand of shimmering gaudiness. And then, the soul sampling in the Blaze, in West Infection in the track list. And we got a, instant classic, Jay-Z, with one of the, if not, obviously his best project. Sliding in at 28. Ayo, Project Pat and Jay-Z. So we still haven't had a repeat. Yay! The first yay on the list, they go with Yeezus at 27. Is this the number one yay? There's no way that they don't have My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Again, a publication? That's an album that just has publication written all over it. They like to rank that super high. I mean, it's obviously a great album, but it's just that old school original trilogy is just, there's nostalgia to that. It's obviously untouched for us. Pause. But the Yeezus is less than a rap album. Is less a rap album than a disc of pure compacted charisma. Few artists have seemed so infallible. Hey yo, as this Kanye, a glow after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and the retrospectively canonized 808 and Heartbreak. This 40-minute odyssey, his volatile compound of arrogance and talent hovers at equilibrium for the last time. Oh, R.I.P. The 2013. And I mean, the projects like, Donda and what's the other one? Saint Pablo? Hey, yo, what's that? Life of Pablo. Hey, yo. Again, we listen to old Ye, if we listen to Ye at this point. But Yeezus being the sort of culmination of some of that soul sampling type stuff, where I think Bound 2 is a, again, if we're talking about a culmination type track, to see that track from where he was at earlier on, it's like, okay, there's a clear line of songs to where we got there, but the progression is, just the talent in the different types of way he's cutting the beat is, very evident with his progression from that time period. So we'll see if he gets one of those original 3 trilogies in the top. I guess we're pushing the top 25 here at this point. But this is one of those albums that, again, speaking of publications, this is a publication album. I think, I guess, again, that trilogy as well, too, was winning the awards back in the day. So an album like Graduation or College Dropout, if we're just starting from the beginning, would not be surprising if that was in the top 10 or something like that. But this, because, like we're saying, of the experimentation and culmination of all of his production over the years, is one of those albums that people do go back to as kind of that writers seem to go back to as a hot takey album. I don't know if we asked people on the street if they would necessarily say this project is their favorite project. Maybe, again, Bound 2 is one of those songs, maybe people are just taking it to play the single. But I feel like if you are going to take a album to listen to start to finish, I don't know how you don't pause. Take the earlier track list. But again, I guess we have a chance to still get to some of those if we get to some of the repeats. But Mos Def, Black on Both Sides, 26. An album that we do have, of course, saved, but I feel like is not as in the shuffle as much as it should be. Hey, yo. Mos Def, of course, is definitely lyrical, so it gets to be one of those things where it's like, if we're going to listen to the lyrical guys, are we just going to, listen to Nas or something? And then if we want to mix it up from the lyrical stuff, then, again, are we going to... Probably Mos Def is not going to be mixing it up at that point. So it can be a little interesting finding a spot in the rotation for him sometimes. But there are those hits like Mrs. Fat Booty, of course, that they're just infectious every time they play. And his ability to, and obviously Jid used that beat as well on his albums, but there is a similarity there in the word. And Jid, I think, because of being in the Kendrick the generation directly after Kendrick and Cole, does get those comparisons, and Kendrick being the activist rapper the way that he is, obviously complimentary, but that is sort of a Mos Def thing as well too. And I do think that some of the most there is Kendrick, a lot of the Kendrick similarities in what Jid is doing as well, but definitely some Mos Def, and maybe Mos Def a little more straight up political, but also storytelling as well too. And feels like they're thinking about rhymes in similar ways. So this album, almost making the top 25, is definitely crazy for Mos Def. Earl Sweatshirt, some rap songs. Of course, one of the albums that is quickly, if not already, as we see from the last 10 years, but the 2010s in general, becoming one of those underground albums that is always going to be ranked super highly amongst some of these projects. Earl Sweatshirt's sort of vocals, I guess. I don't know, chat. Hey, yo, sometimes we're just a dumb listener. And it's like, oh, we just, for some reason, gravitate towards certain guys' vocals and certain guys not. And not necessarily certain guys in some other ways. And I don't know if Earl Sweatshirt, we always find ourselves gravitating towards vocals. But, again, this is one of those albums that it continues to climb as well, too. And as time goes on, the consensus around this album is one of the best albums that we've gotten recently. And Sweatshirt as well, too. An Odd Collective Future. Like we're saying, he's gotten a higher album than Tyler at this point. So I don't know, is Tyler only going to get Bastard on? He might, chat. Imagine Bastard's the only Tyler album that plays it. There's no way Flower Boy's not on this list. There's no way that So should we take bets, chat? Hey, yo, let's take bets. We've got the top 25 albums of all time. I don't know if I can go through a playlist here real quick and see what albums we still potentially have, or what names, what artists we still potentially have. Obviously, Pac and Big are two that we don't have. Remember, we have Kendrick, Ye, Jay. All of those guys are off the board. Drake hasn't had an album. Oh, chat. We haven't had Cole on the list yet. Hey, yo, no 2014 Forest Hills, no Friday Night Lights. We did see the Nicki Minaj mixtape earlier. So if we were going to go mixtapes, and we did see the Lil Wayne mixtape. So there hasn't been Cole yet as well, too. That could be a pretty crazy snub. Do I have a... Hey, yo, chat. I thought we had a pen over here. Let me see. A pencil? A marker? A crayon? I don't know. We may be out of luck, honestly. We may just have to go off memory. But yeah, I guess we did see 50 Cent technically in some group efforts, but we haven't necessarily seen, I guess, the 50 Cent solo project. No Massacre on this list, probably. That would be the ultimate one. Do we bet, chat? Is that a bet? Oh, chat, no, we definitely need a pen. Oh, look at that! We said the Massacre, and we got a pen. I don't know if what happens there. Mightier Than the Sword, but what are the odds that is the album on this list over Get Rich Die Tryin'? Which somebody did send us a link for a new fantasy league that is potentially drafting in a couple hours. That is, again, a new fantasy league that is just starting 4 weeks into the season, and our team name will be Get Rich Die Tryin' in honor of Anthony Richardson. Shout out. Also 50 Cent, but also Anthony Richardson. Last year, our team name, we drafted Breece Hall in the first round. So I don't know. We shouldn't probably have named a New York team this. Maybe we should have drafted a West Coast guy. Maybe hope Breece Hall got traded to the West Coast. But our team name was All Eyes on Breece. So we're keeping the album theme name this year, and we're going with Get Rich Die Tryin', again, in honor of our once beloved, but only by us, Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson for, maybe a total of a couple games. But, yeah, so we got, I guess technically 50 Cent as well, too, still needs to make an appearance. Lauryn Hill, of course, we haven't seen Miseducation at this point. No ASAP, chat. No ASAP Rocky is a little crazy as well, too. So, I mean, that's already 3 or 4 guys. ASAP might be in danger of not making this list. I mean, you can tell that I'm scrolling this in alphabetical order. I don't know if Baby Keem is gonna make the list. We start making our own personal list. It's like Burden of Proof by Benny the Butcher on that list. Again, I don't know how we would balance personal and bias. Beyonce, we haven't seen necessarily a R&B crossover. No Joey. I guess, is Sir Lucius Left Foot gonna be in the top 25? Would be the question. But we haven't got Outkast yet as well, too. So imagine we have to get Outkast still. Like we said, we still probably getting the 50 Cent at this point. Do we get Big L? Lifestyles? That's probably going to be left off. Big Pun? Capital Punishment probably being left off. Big X the Plug, probably not still had enough time with some of those albums to be in the mix yet. Busta Rhymes, none of the Extinction level events in the mix. Speaking of Cameron, I don't know if they're sneaking one of these albums into the top 25, but Mace, chat. We did see Cameron earlier with the Diplomats. Do we get Mace's Harlem World in the top 25? I doubt we're going to get any of those couple other Bad Boy records in this list. We'll have to see, again, unless it's just Biggie. Or, I guess Mary J. It's a best rap album, so like hip-hop. I don't know, Mary J. might not be in the mix. Is Lauryn Hill, are they going to keep her off the list on that technicality? I don't think they can, chat. That would not be allowed. Chance the Rapper's, acid rap, I guess, is not going to be on the list. Because the internet? Childish Gambino, chat? Because the internet not being a top 100 would be tough. Top 25 also would be a little tough, a little rich for because the internet. Some rap songs at 25 is getting a little up there as well, too. Shout out Earl Sweatshirt. But the Childish Gambino not being a top 100 is crazy. Even, I guess, yeah, that one would be probably the album that would make the list. The Clips, so I would need to go back and familiarize myself more with the Clips older music. Again, this has definitely been a big, we need to go back and definitely catch up on all that Neptune stuff from back in the day. And obviously, Pusha T as well, too. We listened to some of the, that Pusha T, obviously, yay, crossover, collaboration stuff. But could you say the new Clips album, top 100 all time already? But I imagine Lord Willin, chat, top 25 has to be considered. Common? There's no B. Did we miss B by Common? Or is that in the top 25? We have a Common potential omission at this point. We start getting maybe Personal. Is Corday actually going to make this? Chat! Where is Blame It or Baby on Baby? Blame It on Baby. I think maybe Baby on Baby is the better album. I don't know. We have to go back and look at both those track lists and compare. Oh, Kirk is the best of Baby album, chat. Hey, yo, my bad. It's definitely Kirk. Where, you know what? Hot take? It's in the top 100. In my opinion. Hey, yo, it is what it is. Rotation. Again, we're being biased, but IT, cut that out. Against Danny Brown. Denzel Curry? I guess I don't know if it's the Denzel bias, but Taboo, chat? How is Taboo not on this list? I don't know if we're starting doing honorable mentions now with the 25 album mark. Is DJ Khaled going to crack the list? Doechii won best rap album, but a year we haven't had any. What was the newest one was that Sexy Red at 2023. So the last 3 years, Sexy Red has the best album. Shout out. But Don Toliver, I guess, Hardstone Psycho. I don't know. I don't know if Don Toliver is quite getting in the top 100. I guess again, I feel like all of the. We did get the one that you probably would, as long as we got one of the argumentative Drake albums, that's fine. I think top 45 is a little tough, but I guess that one's not crazy bad. Maybe you just want to see a little bit, if you're only going to get one, maybe, a couple spots higher in the list. And again, one Dr. Dre album and it's in the 60s is crazy. Are we going to get 2001 on this list? We're just kind of looking at new people as well, too, in this scroll through the playlist. We did already have an. Oh, chat! Eric Rakim. Eric B. and Rakim. They definitely have to be in the mix. Again, some of the R&B people. Badu, probably not making it. Fabio Foreign? Fetty Wap? Chat, is Fetty Wap the album as well? The artist, but also the album that he dropped in 2015. Is the Fetty Wap album going to be in the top 15? It really might, honestly, with the way that there has been a little bit of a Fetty Wap resurgence, it's felt like lately. I don't know if we've had to prove a point since maybe it felt like the generations kind of lost that fact that Trap Queen's a banger. And I don't know if we had to bring it back on them. Hey, yo, chat. Maybe we haven't done a good enough job yet. We'll have to see. But Freddie Gibbs as well, too. The whole Freddie Gibbs collaborative, I don't know, all of them could be in the top 100s. The Alfredo album, the Pinata album, I guess you could have the Bandana? Yeah, Bandana album in the top 100 as well. But Pinata, in my mind, would have to be a top 100. But I guess at this point, it's not going to be on the list, but we have to get Freddie. And I guess Madlib, chat, obviously, you know, producer on Pinata. So we haven't had MF Doom yet at this point. We know that MF Doom is probably going to be in an appearance, but imagine, chat, there's no way that we get a top 100 with no MF Doom. And he would be one that you could maybe get two because that Mad Villainy is that collab. So you think, not the Food album, maybe the Food album for sure, but Doomsday, Operation Doomsday could be a top 100 as well too. I mean, he could obviously, if we're being biased toward artists, you know, he could have 3 or 4 in the top 100 himself there. The Fugees? Oh, chat, the Fugees and Future. How have we not had have we had Future on? Oh, did we have Future on this list? Pause. We had him on the picture. So a lot of the guys in the picture have been. Chat, if Kendrick's top album is in the 40s, that is crazy. But Future hasn't been on this list yet. I guess, you know, the Fugees / Lauryn Hill, but that's two different things as well. So I feel like that's two, like we're saying, two different spots on the potential list at this point. Yeah, you know, DS2, or we go one of the mixtapes. The Game, you know, is the documentary going to be in the top 25? Chat, I don't know if the documentary is going to be in the top 25. I feel like that's more maybe top 50, top 60. You know, can we put the documentary by The Game where the Chronic is at, and then put the Chronic in the top 25 or something along those lines? I think maybe we are a little bit more limited on the amount of actual Wu-Tang albums that we're getting, because we have gotten Scarface, we have gotten Jizza, but we have not gotten Ghostface yet, chat. Hey, yo, we need a Ghostface Killa album in the mix. Glorilla, if Sexy Red's in the top 100, Glorilla might be in the top 10. Ice Cube as well, Foundational Piece. You know, that NWA album, you would imagine, is going to be in the mix. But Ice Cube's debut should definitely be on this list as well. Jack Harlow should, what's the name of this album, chat? That's what they all say. Is that his best album? Maybe Jackman is honestly his best album. If we just had to listen to one, maybe. But I don't know. Jack Harlow probably not going to make top 25. Jay Electronica album, maybe not. Jay-Z, he's not a new name. They already spoiled the Jay-Z name on the list. No Cole. I guess we could write him down, but I don't think Cole's going to be on this list, chat, unless they're just surprisingly high on 2014 Hills Drive. And little plot twist. I don't know. Maybe KOD is the one that they're really high on. Maybe we do put Jid down. I feel like Forever Story, again, should have been maybe in the mix in the top 100. But, you know, that does start to get crowded up at the top. Mixtapes, 1999 for sure, as just an individual project being on the list feels necessary at some point. JPEG Mafia, you know, there has been a lot of love to a lot of different styles and experimentation, so I'm surprised that he's not a little involved. Juice WRLD, hey yo, honestly, like, can we get a little goodbye and good riddance on this album? You know, I might defend even Legends Never Die, just because that album was definitely overplayed by us the summer that it dropped. But, you know, I'd even defend Desiree for Love. Hey yo, what, do we like Juice WRLD or something? But I mean, I feel like Goodbye and Good Riddance has a case for, you know, being in that 90s range. Anyways, oh yeah, chat, there we go. There is Jurassic 5. That's the group. Shout out. Juvenile? Did we get a Juvenile? Did we get 400 Degrees in this album? I don't know if we're making the case for Jurassic Park, but maybe Juvenile? Maybe I just don't remember from earlier in the list. And I feel like that is the one Lupe album that we were getting as well, too. I just now thought of that as well. Like I said, Kendrick, we hope that Good Kid, Mad City is on this list. Ayo, Key Glock? Kid Cudi. Oh, Kid Cudi could be earlier. Again, I don't know if he's in the top 25, but he could have been in the top 100. Man on the Moon, any of those series. Killer Mike, chat? We're going to get no Killer Mike. Michael better be in the top 25. I'd rather Michael be overranked than underranked. That would be more appropriate, because it's definitely more overplayed by us than it is underplayed. And I think, you know, like Love is Rage 2. Again, I don't know if that's just, hey, yo, we're showing our age, chat, but we're talking about 100 albums here. You're telling me there's 100 albums better than Love is Rage 2? I mean, I don't know about that. I'd really sit down and make the list. The Carter 3? You know, are we going to get, we're going for the repeats. I mean, I'm at a ton of names here. I mean, you guys can tell. We've been reading them. Hey, yo, LL Cool. We're in the L's, chat. I mean, we're in the L's. Should I just count how many? I think I just scrolled too far down on the list as well. Let me see what number I accidentally skipped to here. Once it loads, you guys can tell this is not a playlist. This is a database. We are scrolling through here. It takes a while for it to load. Oh, we scrolled all the way down to Whitney Houston. Will Smith is not even on the list. I guess Wu-Tang. We assume that they are going to be there as well. West Side Gun is the Weeknd, probably not going to make the cut. I don't know if they're going to consider him. Vince Staples, though, you know, I mean, we would definitely have one of those projects put on the list. Tribe hasn't been on here as well. So you know Tribe is going to be on here for sure. Have I missed Tribe? We haven't missed him. Travis? I mean, Travis, chat, is... I think I just wrote down Travi. Ayo, shout out Travi. TLC, I don't think it counts rappers. T.I.? Oh, there's no way there's a top 100 rap albums of all time, and there's no T.I. on this list. That might make... that I almost just threw my phone at the computer. I'm not gonna lie. If I broke the computer on the live stream, I mean, I guess that would have been a funny way to end it, and it would have been an abrupt end. But, hey, yo, that is really upsetting. That is tough. And now we just scrolled past Snoop as well, too. Schoolboy Q. Can we speed up the scroll? I guess we already did see Public Enemy. Imagine the fear of, you know, Public Enemy's one album is ranked in, like, the 90s or wherever that was at. Nas, hey, yo, I feel like we might have met. We just, you know, he just hovers over the conversation as the legend, so we don't even have to bring up his name. Chat, Mobb Deep. I mean, where's Mobb Deep? The Infamous has got... Hey, yo, chat. The rage is making me lose my voice. Hey, yo, Mobb Deep's going to be in the top 10. That's the only way that they have not been... Yeah, I guess 25. You know, they would still not be named yet. We're getting close. But, hey, yo, Mos Def, Mobb Deep, Migos. Oh, we should have had Culture. Culture should have been on this list. You can tell it's not going to be, but Culture should not be on this list. I don't think Mac Miller is going to be in the top 25, chat. And there's LL Cool J. So, wait a second. I don't think I can write down all of the names that we just mentioned. Again, those were just the names of the guys that haven't been mentioned yet out of our own playlists. And that doesn't include all of the repeat artists we'd want to see albums from. So, yeah, it's obviously a tough list. There's a version where, you know, we put in just the repeat albums, and it's like, well, we still don't have room for Love is Rage 2. But, again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 30. We got 35, 40 artists on here that haven't been represented on the list in a full way type. Hit pause, and I guess I counted 50 Cent. Like I said, he has been on the list in a group. But I don't know if that counts. You know, does Childish Gambino count? I don't know if he would be you know, I guess we're saying for the list, we're not making a claim. Hey, yo, Gambino, don't attack us. I'm just trying to figure out reasonings here. That's all. But yeah, MS Doom, the Fugees, I don't know, chat. This is going to be tough. So, Earl Sweatshirt starts off the top 25. Let's see how the rest of it goes here. NWA at 24. I mean, it's like the initial excitement is just relief to see that they made the cut, but 24 is obviously too low. So I mean, maybe we just look away at the numbers at this point and just say, is the album on the list? Okay, whew, it is what it is. Because again, some of these albums are not making it. It is what it is, and that in itself is a disaster. I mean, the camera on repeat, like we're saying, is in jeopardy at this point. Slick Rick, hey yo, I'm missing Slick Rick in the playlist. Hey yo, chat, did I not scroll past Sitting in My Car? I guess not. Maybe we scrolled past it a little too quick. But Slick Rick at 23 feels pretty good. Pause. Whoa. Hey, yo. That is not a bad ranking. Again, maybe we asked a couple of the real old heads, and this one might get a little top 10 conversation. But this actually feels... Maybe the ranking for us is we rank the rankings. Like, which ranking is the best? So, Slick Rick is not bad. You know, again, if we're ranking it, like, DMX is like a B+ grade. This might be like an A+ ranking grade, though. We'd have to see. I don't know if we might be able to, you know, with some duplicates, get to 25 albums before we got to Slick Rick, just because we're young. But the solo artist effect of it, or minimalizing that, you know, again, this album is right in the range here. So this is great. Goody Mob, Soul Food. So add Goody Mob to the playlist. Definitely, chat. CeeLo, Big Gip. Cujo, and Timo. This might be the best. Ooh, who has better names, chat? Goody Mob or Wu-Tang Clan? Because Scarface is a pretty good name, of course. I mean, hot take. Jizza, I don't know. Jizza, maybe, if you think about it. I don't know if you have to think about it for a second, but that could be a little strange. RZA, though. Ready to Die at 21? Oh, chat, that's so disappointing. So that means, Life After Death, the Bad Boy influence. I guess Bad Boy all over the place. But, I guess that is not going to be on the list. Or 2 Biggie albums in the top 21. That's the only saving grace at this point. Hey, yo. Oh, chat, wait a second. 21. Is this the second best album of all time? So we've decoded it now. Wait a second. Do we remember the clues, chat? Do we remember the clues? So Doggy Style, 100. I guess we have to go back. What was the 80s? Because The Chronic was the 60s. T-Pap was the 40s. Ready to Die is the 20s. Hey, yo. We may be figuring it out here. Let's go back up and see if we can find what was in that 80s best. Oh, main attractions? I don't know. Oh, V's. Okay, we're figuring. I don't know. Maybe they did have Too Short. We'll say Too Short because even the top 5 with Too Short in the top 5 is more accurate than their top 100. Let's see here. Mac, Shell Shocked. Yeah, we may have to. Nicki Minaj. We may have to stretch our theory, but it's close, chat. It's close. They almost had us. Oh, Diplomatic Immunity. There we go. That might be the one, honestly. That would be a little bit of a hot take, but I'm fine with that hot take versus what was our other option? Prince Paul. Either one. Too Short. I don't know. That's pretty good. Top 5 albums of all time. Too Short. Life is Too Short. Or Diplomatic Immunity. Diplomatic Immunity is just. Whoa! He scrolled too far down. Hey, yo. It is what it is. Diplomatic Immunity is a little too much of like a. Is it not a bit? Like, does he actually think Diplomatic Immunity is the top 5 album of all time? Versus if it's like, oh, Too Short's top 5 album of all time. Okay, sure. But either way, so top 5 albums of all time. We know it's Doggy Style, Too Short, T-Pap, or The Chronic, and T-Pap. So that makes Dr. Dre as well, too, one of the greatest of all time. 2 of the top 5 albums. Shout out. Makes more sense. T-Pap at number 3. Ready to Die at number 2. And then we'll see what ends up around the number 1 area. And if that is somewhat accurate, then maybe the list decoded by the Rem and Sam pod will turn out to be not so bad. Pitchfork, you can thank us. I mean, you can be mad at us for decoding it, but also you needed us to crack the code because it's really making your list look a lot better. I'm not going to lie. But De La Soul, top 20. Okay, I don't know if this would have been the album that again, we were not as familiar, but I just know that, and I guess reading other rankings in the past, that the debut album, the one with the yellow-ish cover on it, and it's like their faces on the background, and maybe there's some, it looks kind of, like a scrapbook cutout sort of school project situation, if I'm thinking about it right. I guess you guys probably know what the De La Soul album cover looks like. But let's double check here. Is it 3 Feet High and Rising? Yes, that is the album that I am thinking of. And I guess kind of. Hey, yo, maybe a little bit of a cutout. I mean, definitely a cutout effect, but I don't know if it's like a, cut in like a book situation type ordeal. But yeah, shout out. This is, of course, one of those other iconic albums. So I don't think that they're going to get another appearance here, but they're at least cracking the top 20, which is respectful enough. Wu-Tang at 19. A little bit low. Again, I think a B, probably a B- on the rankings. I think there is a world where you could maybe have this at like 11 or 12. I don't think that this is not a top 12 album of all time. I feel like it is a little bit, I don't want to call it like a Kobe Bryant because I guess, hey, yo, what does that mean? But the fact that there is like a version of this album where it's the 5th best album of all time, or again, it's like the 12th or 13th best album of all time, but I don't think it ever falls out of the low teens in any type of way. And it only would be that because you would just be doubling up on some albums of all time. You'd be like, oh, Jay-Z, The Reasonable Doubt and The Blueprint are both top 10 albums, and I think they're both better than than Wu-Tang. It would literally be that. It'd be 2 Kendrick albums and 2 Jay-Z albums and Nas, and maybe, some of the songs that have, I think, individually lived. I mean, the iconicness of the songs have lived on. I don't know if they're as bumped in the daily rotation as you might naturally play some of the, again, like Biggie and Tupac songs, obviously, but even, I guess maybe more, I don't know if you're playing like the De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest more naturally, Ayo. But, they're not as sort of radio hit-ish type in the playlist, or just find themselves in like stadium settings or parties or stuff like that. But again, the iconicness of the project itself has obviously lived on in Wu-Tang. I mean, is obviously still an iconic group. But 19, just a couple spots too low, I think. But we're getting closer, Chad. At least it's in the top 20. So the top 20 so far, we got De La Soul and Wu-Tang, is not too bad, obviously. To start, Eric B. and Rakim, 18. So we thought we thought they would trend 80s a little bit, like, or some of these older albums again a little bit on the different side of the teens list. Like maybe this would be the 11th and 12th, 13th best albums, but it does seem like, I don't know if they'll go a little bit newer with that as well too. But again, another sigh of relief. They're in the top 20, probably should be in the top 10, but at least it's close enough for Pitchfork to get. Oh, Chet, MF Doom, Operations Doomsday is the one. Oh, does that mean Mad Villainy is going to get left off? That's a hot take there, Pitchfork. Hey, yo, steaming hot. They're doing that on purpose. That is one of those ones that you just know is people are going to get mad if you don't rank that album high. That might be the Kobe Bryant of albums. That might be the most beloved. Like, I don't know if it has any haters. I guess, maybe Kobe has haters. God bless the dead. But if the fans that are pro the album are just the most passionate about a project, like the Mad Villainy fans, or obviously this is, top 5 album of all time, no question. And yeah, I mean, I'm closer to that than not. But this is a steamy hot take right here for Pitchfork to have Operations Doomsday. Not for it to be in the top 20, because I guess I think that is a fair case. But for this to potentially be the MF Doom album represented is pretty fun, chat. And hey, yo, we got this baseball game. Have we been on the entire time this baseball game? Baseball! Hey, yo! What's going on? Maybe we're really rambling here, but that is impressive, speed of the game. I mean, top of the 8th, I guess we do have 2 innings to go, so the game will be drawn out here a little bit, but top of the 8th, it's 3-3. We got elimination game. Baseball! Hey, yo! Look at this. Baseball is back, chat. It's exciting, but I guess we're never fans of baseball really in the first place in a major way, so maybe it's us, again, I guess starting to be a little bit more intrigued by baseball. But Future, 16, DS2. DS2, we love it. We love it being as high on the list as possible. I don't know if I would have put it over Eric B. and Rakim. I think, or Wu-Tang. I was going to say, there's another one. The De La Soul album, again, personally, I'm fine with that. I'll listen to Future more than De La Soul, so yes, that's fine with me. But we still have, and I'll listen to Future more than Wu-Tang. It is what it is. But I would still have the Wu-Tang album as an all-time album better than Future. I think that is, of course, totally fair to say. And Eric B. and Rakim as well, too. I think have been a little bit more foundational for a little bit longer than the Future album has. But, again, Future, with the way that he has inspired now what is seemingly the next generation. Not seemingly the next generation, but seemingly maybe he is the most directly influential of the big 3, honestly. And, again, I think, like we said when we did the DS2 re-listen this summer, because it was the 10th anniversary of the album this year. The battle was, of course, big in, obviously, flipping the status of Kendrick and Drake. But as, Charlemagne talked about at the time, and it was really a bummer for us to hear, because we were, obviously some big Cole guys at the time. But it was like the status between Cole and Future has maybe flipped a little bit as well, too. And like has been said, we never can go back and undo the way we obviously felt about those 3 guys, and the way that big 3 was intertwined in their rise. But the way that it might culturally, the impact stuff, like Future might, again, be the most impactful of those 4 guys. Who knows? Just in terms of the way, who are artists copying the game of. Like Future, I guess everybody's Kobe, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. But if we're gonna make one more Kobe reference, he might be the Kobe where it's or the guy that's brought up, or the Paul George. Like Future might be the Paul George, and maybe we're just really, of course, focusing on Brandon Miller here. But the guy, or Durant. Durant would be one. A lot of forwards, it's like, who do you model your game after? Durant. Everybody's bringing up Durant. Or I guess, you don't really hear guys bring up Steph, obviously, because he's a little unique. And obviously Durant's unique, but it's the moves, and not to say that Steph has the moves, but there is a smoothness and I guess the footwork with Durant is so pure, and the one-on-one ability, you're just kind of seeing how he operates. And yes, his 7-foot, frame is able to help create space, but also he's just such a skilled basketball player that you can just take so much from just watching him, the skill of it as well too. So maybe he is, and Durant continues to climb the all-time ranks as well, so he is really high up on the all-time legacy rankings. Maybe higher as a basketball player than Future is as an artist, for sure. I think though Future as an artist maybe a little higher than Paul George. Maybe, Chad. I don't know if he's higher than Durant. Durant's pretty high, but Paul George, I mean, maybe with some of the takes. But legacy rankings-wise, he may be higher on the list. I don't know. We really have to compare that out. But either way, shout out Future 16. At this point, just because I think maybe DS2 could definitely be my 16th favorite album of all time, in a no disrespect type way. And again, I might get a little snooty with some of that. Can we say that in 2025? I don't even know. But I might get a little not prejudice is not the right word. Prestigious? Is that the right way to use that word? I might get a little prestigious with some of the albums where, speaking of Public Enemy, I might say, oh yeah, Public Enemy takes a Nation of Millions. Definitely a top 10 favorite album for me. And it is an album I listened to it today at the gym. So it might be, it might be in my top 10. I don't know if it would exactly correlate for listening time. But again, I would still probably rank it like 2 or 3 spots higher in a list than I would actually listen to it. But still, it'd be close. But, DS2 would still be a top 20 favorite album, again, just because if we're considering all of history, and I guess all the genres as well, too, if we're going favorite albums. Like, we gotta throw some Whitney Houston in there. But, chat! Only built for Cuban links, Raekwon. I can't believe we didn't think about this when we were talking about the Wu-Tang albums, but I gotta be honest, and again, this is actually more of a Wu-Tang album than the other ones, because it's got 2 Wu-Tang Clan members, of course, being so and all Wu-Tang Clan members being influential to the album, but, Raekwon and Ghostface as well, too. But for some reason, I do think of the Ghostface, the actual guys, the actual solo projects first, where Ghostface as a solo artist, GZA as a solo artist in their own projects. And again, this does feel more like a again, not a Wu-Tang solo project, but more sort of a Wu-Tang spin-off project. And in a good way, it's iconic. 15. They actually have it ranked higher than the OG Wu-Tang as well, too, which at this point, we're just numb to dumb rankings. Again, we're just looking for names. Is this name on the list? Hey, yo, did we not scroll through that? I know that this is in this playlist as well, too. Do I have to show you guys the phone? Hey, yo, it is what it is. Take my word for it. It's definitely, well, maybe it's not. I actually don't take my word for it, because I do find myself, of course, queuing up albums as well, too. And not, oh, yeah, here we go. It is in the playlist. Shout out. Ice Cream? Yeah, here we go. It's in there. Shout out. But, it's also in this playlist just labeled Rosillo. Hey, yo. But, yeah, we do have that saved in the database playlist over here. So I guess we should have read that one off, but maybe we were just, scrolling too fast. It is what it is. But, yeah, 15 is another one. Maybe hot take. Maybe I would personally rank, like, Liquid Swords in one of the other Ghostface projects. Maybe Tonight's the Night I realized that Liquid Swords is my favorite Wu-Tang solo project. I don't know. I'm down for that revelation whenever it happens. But maybe Tonight's the Night. It takes a million 14. Again, we're getting close. But this should be, let's see. The Wu-Tang album could potentially be, if it's, let's be generous and say the 10th best album of all time. I guess not generous, but like generous to Pitchfork. And say it's the 10th best album of all time. It's 9 spots off. So if this album is maybe a top, this, I guess both could be equally off in the amount of rankings that they are in the list, but yeah, the name is what counts. And is this the first double back, chat? Pause. Whoa! Is this the first repeat album? Because Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Hat was way up on the list at some point, and we've unfortunately it shouldn't be so up high on the list that we forgot about where it's at, but that's where it's at. And yeah, they are making it again. So A Tribe Called Quest At 13 is, of course, is something that makes sense. Again, the one album theory, I guess the low end theory, Ayo, is just this list. Ayo, low end, I don't know. But the low end theory versus Midnight Marauders, and then what's the other one, chat? That I guess, again, we had admitted that we didn't listen to Tribe that much. It just sometimes doesn't make the rotation. It is what it is. But, oh, chat! What did I just see? What did I just see? Good Kid, Mad City at number 12. I mean, I'll take the respect for the album. And again, Kendrick, 2 albums. You love to see it. 12, I think, is fair because now it can be introduced into the conversation. Personally, again, I think we would have it way higher. And, well, I guess we could talk about this album maybe a little bit more later this year. But I guess regardless, this album is... This may actually be, because there's not a lot of spots left on the list, you know, the amount of rankings that it's off may not be too much, but you know, it could be the most, honestly. Who knows? But yeah, I guess respect for it being in the top 15. Biggie, oh, there we go, chat. Okay, so he's got 2 albums in the top 21. So that means Pac only has 1 album in the top 100. So Pac, we're only probably going to see All Eyes on Me then. So Me Against the World is not going to be in the top 100? Hey, yo, chat. That does seem a little bit surprising. And, you know, Thug Life 101, the Above the Rim soundtrack, I don't know what else we could have on that list from Pac. But, yeah, I feel like there's some missed opportunities there. So I guess not quite the top. Well, I guess, yeah, we are at the top 10. So do we update our new names list real quick? I don't think A$AP Rocky's getting in the top 10. But, yeah, MF Doom. We did see MF Doom. We did see Future. We did see... I guess technically we did see Ghostface Killah with the Raekwon album, and maybe Iron Man, or maybe what's the one that I'm thinking of? Blue Cover, chat. Hey yo, Rem doesn't know Ghostface album title names. Supreme Clientele. I can't believe we just listened to Supreme Clientele a couple of months ago, the second one when it dropped. But, you know, Supreme Clientele could be like a top 5 album on this list. That would not be surprising. Publications love that album. I mean, for good reason. It's great as well, too. But I think he might have gotten his shout out with Only Built for Cuban Links. So he is off the list. Did we see Outkast? Wait a second. No Outkast yet? Them in the top 10? No 50 Cent. No Get Rich Die Trying. Tribe. We saw Tribe. I wrote over some parts where I don't even know what I wrote at this point. Hey, yo, chat, wait a second. What is this one? This one might be an important one. I honestly don't even remember. That one's Mace, and that's Nas, Mobb Deep. Okay, so we still... I mean, I could cross off the ones that, again, we know we're probably not going to get. So we know we're probably not going to get A$AP Rocky. We know we're probably not going to get, again, like we said, Childish Gambino. Common's probably off the list. Denzel Curry's off the... Oh, Rakim. We did get a Rakim album. They did put them on. Joey, probably off the list. Again, Jade off the list. Freddie's probably not going to be listed. NWA was listed as well, too. The Game is probably not getting listed. Mace is Harlem World in the top 10. I don't know. I feel like there is still like a 7% chance it's on this list, but more likely than not, it is probably not making the top 100, which is crazy that Harlem World would not be in the top 100. But... you know, somebody else made this list. So, you know, JPEG, probably not making it. Kid Cudi, no Killer Mike whatsoever. No T.I., no Travis. Is wild. Oh, this is Mac Miller. No Mac Miller. Oh, Migos. That's what I wrote there. Migos. Ayo, we got it. Alphabetically. Maybe give us some clues. So, Culture? Is Culture going to be in the top 10? Okay, and Love is Rage 2 is probably not in the top 10 as well. So that leaves us... So the Fugees... Is it going to be the Fugees and Lauryn Hill both in the top 10? That's on the table, honestly. The odds of that are a little bit higher than Mace, I think. But it's still not great. So we're going to see Tupac, Outkast, 50 Cent, Lauryn Hill. Those 4. What is... Oh, J. Cole. J. Cole is not going to be on this list, unfortunately. Probably should be. There's definitely one project that should be in the top 100 list. But, hey, yo... Yikes. You know, Pitchfork can be releasing an apology to J. Cole pretty soon. So we're going to see Tupac, Outkast, 50 Cent, Lauryn Hill. Ice Cube is going to make the list with just NWA, I guess. Nas. Mobb Deep has to be... There's no way that Mobb Deep is not the next album. I mean, I don't... Can we get odds on this? Polymarket? Live updates on the scroll. Oh, Yankees rounding the bases. Is he safe? They threw it into home. He's safe, Chad. Hey, yo, bottom of the 8th. New York goes crazy. 4-3. Is that Paul Skeens pitching for the Red Sox? No, it's not. I forgot what team he's on, so I don't know who that is. But somebody just... Is that run batted in? I think RBI situation. Hey, we don't know. I just looked up and just saw some guy sprinting toward home plate and was like, oh, baseball's getting exciting. But, yeah, so that is potentially our guesses for the artist here in the top 10. Let's see what is happening over here, chat, because we gotta rip through this. I usually have dinner with my grandma on Wednesday, and I guess that's not happening. Hopefully, if we rush over there, the food's still warm, chat. It is what it is. But I guess we got at number 10, Mad Villainy. Okay, I guess we crossed MF Doom off because we didn't assume the top 10 was gonna be the only. We didn't assume the repeats were only gonna be in the top 20, but it seems like that's what's happening here. So Mad Villainy 10, respect. That's good. Outcast Aquemini. Okay, if they had started this list at 1, maybe we would have lost track of how bad the list was. I guess maybe if we had scrolled past 20 and been like, where's Doggy Style at? But, yeah. Aquemini, I guess that is the one. Because for us, maybe we do personally listen to a lot of the cuts on Speaker Box Love Below a little bit more. But that isn't even really an Outcast album as well, too. You know, it's Andre 3K, Big Boy, solo albums. So if we're talking about Outcast, you know, Rosa Parks is probably their most queuable song, just most accessible song. You're playing that, listening to it, probably the one we queue up the most. So, you know, Aquemini, we would definitely listen to that album for that reason, but still is definitely the best one. Start to finish, top 10 in the mix for sure. Clips, they go with Hell Hath No Fury. But yeah, we didn't cross them off, and I didn't read them off as an option. But I guess they were kind of unofficially sitting off there as a potential, you know, does Pitchfork credit them here? So, yes, Clips with the top 10 album of all time. I don't know if this continues to set up the push for the album that they dropped this year. And, oh, this not only is just an incredible album in the moment, but, hey, let's not forget the legacy of these guys. And, again, the Pharrell part of it can't be underestimated. There's so many legacies and storylines with that album that are taking place here. But now they have also a top 10 Pitchfork album of all time in Hell Hath No Fury. You know, I guess it's been on probably every version of the list that we've gotten. Uh-oh, chat. I feel like that's all we need to see. We know what's up next. Again, the top 10 is fine so far. I don't know if it's totally accurate in placement, but this is okay. Would Hell Hath No Fury actually be a top 10 album for us of all time? Probably a little rich, but again, at this point, listening to some of these albums, you know, I take this collection of top 10 albums versus some of these other 10s. Though the 40s was not bad as well, too. And we still need to reveal what, again, the actual number 1 album is of all time, but in the decoded version as well, too. So Lauryn Hill is clocking in at number 7. Again, we're running out of spots, so this is about as close as you're going to get to a proper ranking. Like, this one, there is obvious, the peak of this album, it's the best album of all time. I don't know if this is like a LeBron situation where it just depends on what year you're ranking this album. You know, is the writer from which year, whatever year, but it's going to be either the 7th best album of all time or the 1st best album of all time. That's like the only range for it. So yeah, they made sure to put it as low as possible, I guess, at 7, but at least it's, you know, only 6 spots off from where it could possibly be, because, you know, that would be number 1. But at number 6, Rich Gang. I thought we were going to get 50 Cent here. So 50 Cent's not making this? I mean, top 5, we can't write him off yet, but that means, you know, Jay-Z's album is way down there as well, too. I guess we did see both Kendrick albums, unless, you know, Kendrick gets a 3rd album in the top 5. Would not be surprised. Hey, yo, chat, we're taking notes. We're scouting this out. It is what it is. The Reminiscent Pod's the only one that scouts out the Pitchfork list. Yikes. But we got, okay, Rich Gang. Illmatic at 5. Probably too low, but at least they can say it's a top 5 album of all time, so that part of it is accurate. Maybe you'd rather say it's a top 3, 4, I don't know. So that's 1 spot off. Ayo. Supreme Clientele is number 4. Chat, Publications love this album. It is what it is. Hey, yo, so 50 Cent, Get Rich Die Tryin' is not a top 100 album, but Supreme Clientele it is no Tupac on this album? What is happening? I might embody the spirit of Tupac and break the computer like we were saying. Marlon Wayans. Hey, yo. I mean, maybe that was helping the portray. Maybe he was using that in the portrayal for him. I'm not sure. Trying to channel some of that energy. But Ayo, Supreme Clientele over Nas, chat. I mean, we all say it, right? Everybody says Illmatic, is not as good as Supreme Clientele. That's a movement that's happened over the last couple years, I guess. At number 3, the write-up on Supreme Clientele. They can't stop. They can't help themselves, chat. It's a crazy album. 400 Degrees is number 3. Whoa, chat, it made the list. We didn't even have Juvenile in our top. This is Brady in the 5th, 7th round, chat. We're like, Juvenile wasn't even on our draft board at this point. Oh, man. Juvenile. Better than both Biggie albums. Chat, spreading COVID. Hey, yo. We might have to take a break. We might just have to end the stream. I don't even care what the last 2 albums are, chat. It is what it is. Shout out. Do I just need to have a 360 degree or a 180 and 360? We do like it, and then we go back to not like it. I guess not liking it, obviously, but do we think it's the 3rd best album of all time? Do I need to have a 180 and just sit down and just be like, you're gonna think this album's the 3rd best album of all time, and it's gonna be what it is? This album is better than Illmatic and better than Supreme Clientele as well too. What does it say, chat? There's hip hop before 400 Degrees, and then there's hip hop after. Okay. A watershed moment for Southern rap music. The album was, more watershed than Outkast. The album was pieced together the way a funk band might do it. Juvenile brought his paranoid yet affectionate, realistic yet imaginative rhymes to Manny Fresh, who gradually shaped his bounce-infused minimalism around the words, while members of the Hot Boys and Big Timers checked in whenever their number was called. 400 Degrees is also an album that made Cash Money legendary thanks to a lopsided distribution deal that allowed Baby and Slim to put all their numbers into Juvie's debut. Once it took off, the label turned into a behemoth. And it's... Ayo, so they're going to go on. It is what it is. We need to figure out why it's number 3. And it wasn't for no reason that Juvenile was the one to make Cash Money blow up. He was an unrelenting powerhouse, oozing soul with the ability to command a party like a bounce artist he once was, and also tell a humanistic story with the vividness that could go toe-to-toe with the best to ever come out of New York. Got golds on my fronts, stay full of them blunts, don't want to be broke, I gotta feed my folks. The album is incredibly stylish with syrupy sing-songy rhyme scheme of Ha that still sounds like it's from the future, and the flexes of Floss in session, and that are full of so much warmth no matter how ridiculously over-the-top Juvenile gets. It's as fun as it is bleak, as grounded as some truly other music that could have been only made in New Orleans in 1998, which is what rap is all about. Capturing a moment in time and making it last forever. Okay, you know what? That point is actually the best point in making this the number 3 album of all time. It's like, this is the most specific album to an era and a moment ever, but I don't know, is that the point of this list? Should we have read the rankings? Should we have read the intro article a little bit better? Like, these are the most, again, specific of a time, of a era albums of all time, but like, I don't know if some of the great albums, there's a little bit of a timelessness to them as well, too. I don't know if, but I guess Nas is sort of that peak, well, but it's also a trend-setting album, so, I guess every great album has the cases in so many different categories as well, too. But 400 Degrees at number 3, chat. Ayo, was not expecting that. I thought once we got past, 35, the album was gone. It is what it is. I guess we crossed it off the list 25. But number 2, okay, what are the only 2 albums better than 400 Degrees, chat? There's only 2 albums ever been made in the history of rap better than 400 Degrees. And they are All Eyes on Me by Tupac. Okay, that's honestly just a sigh of relief. I mean, shout out. This is by far the most accurate ranking of the pod at this point. I guess Illmatic at 5 is, again, not 2-3 spots off. But, yeah, okay, so Tupac made the list. So this last spot, I guess Lauryn Hill made the list. It's going to be either Ice Cube, 50 Cent. Mobb Deep is not on this album. Mobb Deep has the greatest album of all time. I'd be down with that take, honestly. I don't know if I'd be down with the take of leaving Get Rich, Die Trying off the album. Did we miss it? Did we miss it, chat? America's Most Wanted. Again, not on the list. I feel like we mentioned those when we mentioned a lot of the potential honorable mentions already. So the names that we mentioned for what could be up next when we were at that 25 spot would also double as good honorable mentions as well, too. Or, the artist, obviously, like we were saying, not mentioned in a major way. Yeah, Migos, chat. Insane. So, Mobb Deep or Migos is the greatest album of all time. Let's see what we get. It is going to be Mobb Deep to Infinites. Okay, shout out. So, Mobb Deep is not bad. So, this is not, the top 10's not bad. we got a little nervous. We didn't necessarily fully respect some of the effort. I guess at the end of the day, it really is, Ice Cube and 50 Cent that are the biggest losers. And Mace not getting his album on is pretty crazy. Cameron, no solo is tough as well, too. I guess Jay not being anywhere close to the top 10 is kind of wild as well. No 2 Jay albums, just for the status that he has is pretty crazy. But Mobb Deep, well, I'm fine with that take. The best album of all time? Absolutely. I feel like, yeah, I mean, I feel that is, again, we're talking the specificness as well, too. The New York, East Coast sound that they were able to, make, and that moment was pretty awesome. So, again, I don't know if we would necessarily, well, yeah, I guess we irrationally love Tupac so much that, we would just listen to the whole entire, both sides of All Eyes on Me before we would listen to Mobb Deep's The Infamous. Again, we're just psychotic as well, too. But Mobb Deep over 400 Degrees, chat. Hey, yo, by a lot. But maybe once we listen to that album, we will change our mind. I honestly, it is an album that is just, it's so consistent in there is, again, an embodiment of, and obviously, with hip hop and the soul, R&B influences, all these different things, there is a genre blending element that we definitely have now, and even back then, that can make a project very dynamic and diverse and awesome to listen to. But there is, and even a guy like Kendrick, like that, I think is what is fun about GNX, is that there isn't just an old school hip hopness to the production of it, where he's always leaned into elements of, again, his focus on hip hop history has always definitely been there, but there is just a rap beat consistency to this album that is just about as good as any other. I do really think that it is like this album and maybe 2001 a little bit more specifically, if we're going G-Funk is kind of its own separate sort of subgenre. I guess like not even albums that are in a subgenre, but it's just like just rap. The Infamous is just like it's just hip hop. I guess I don't know if we're sitting here supposed to talk about like what it's supposed to be, but it's like, okay, this is like 101 of legendary great. This feels like the baseline in the good way, and then everything kind of, you go a little bit more in this direction, you get soul, you go a little bit more in this direction, you get the, more experimental stuff, and then you go this way, you get this type of genre, and it really is. It does feel like it could be the launching point sonically for, every type of project. But, yeah, this is, a crazy list, chat. Hey, yo, I didn't know we were going to do a 3-hour live stream on the list. We were going to maybe talk about the fact that, we were going to say, hey, who'd we draft in this fantasy draft that we have 4 weeks in a couple of hours? Did I explain that earlier? Again, I don't even remember. 100 albums explaining fantasy lists. It is what it is. So shout out, chat. We got an episode in there. Pause. Last night. Again, thanks for those that joined us and put up with the technical difficulties. And thanks for jumping on with us tonight. Typically, we're on a Monday, Tuesday, Friday schedule. But hey, this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, whatever the schedule was, it's great. And it worked out. And, anytime we get to react to a list, chat, hey, yo, that's a great time. So, I don't know if we necessarily, love looking at the list order, but we love looking at the list, and we love hanging out with you guys, of course. So, mission accomplished. But we'll be back. Like I said, normal schedule is for us to be live Friday, and we'll try to be live Friday. I guess if we have a mess up and have to be live Saturday, it is what it is. But we'll be live Friday, normal time. Of course, you can join us here on the YouTube channel. You can follow us. You can follow the live streams afterwards on the podcast feeds as well, too. They do get posted over there. If you miss us live, hey, yo, chat, we are available on the podcast feeds as well. And if you want to send us a message, you can DM us at RemingTonm on Instagram. The DMs are open over there. Chat, I've got to go recover. Hey, yo, that juvenile pick really destroyed me. Is what it is. Pause. So, I guess, should I say that 400 degrees pick? Hey, yo, I need to do some editing here at the end. It is what it is. But we will see you guys, like I said, Friday night, and we look forward to being with you guys again. So enjoy the rest.